بسم الله الحمد لله وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله اللهم صل على محمد وآله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا أما بعد. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Reactionary Show. The Reactionary Show, the late night show with Reactionary. All right, so there's a link for the panel. You may click it and jump in to the panel and express your opinions and thoughts. Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome to jump in and express your thoughts and opinions. Now, what am I going to talk about today? As usual, got nothing to talk about, no agenda. I just came on because a bit bored. I wanted to go to bed. I've just then thought I'd come online for a little bit. Good evening, Crimes of Britain. How you doing, bruv? Nice to see ya. Nice to see you, nice. Anyway, there's a hangout. You're welcome to jump on, brother. Yeah, so that's really what I was saying. Not much going on. Just chilling out. I was wondering if I should go through the news or not. Could do. Be honest in the house says, Assalamu alaikum, brother. Thanks for hosting. Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah. Be honest. How you doing? Yeah, I saw you on the on Raj's chat. Yeah, good. I'm good, thanks. Crimes of Bits says, all good, man. Yourself? Yeah, I'm good, thanks. Good, thanks. All good. So I'll just keep pasting the link to the hangout to the panel over there. So what's new with me? Not much. Nothing new. Let me see if I can now find a web browser to open. Delete this, delete that. Delete this, delete that. Okay, I'm going to have to open a new web browser. Somebody has joined the conversation. There's somebody at the door. Somebody at the door. All right, be honest. Alhamdulillah, I'm okay, thanks. I was involved in a heated debate regarding oppression of Muslims and was bombarded. Oh, was that with the guy from Denmark, John Denmark? I think the guy's name is. Is that right? Crimes of Britain in the house.
How you doing, man?
Big up. How you doing, bro? You all right?
I'm not bad, not bad.
Not bad.
Yourself, you good?
Yeah, always good to see you or to hear you.
So what's the topic then?
I haven't got one yet.
No topic
just
yet.
Not yet. No, just that's why I called it random. Just what I'd go in mind, see if there's something to talk about. I was on Raj's panel, or not panel. I was on watching his chat earlier. It was quite fun. I have to say, he's very entertaining. I haven't actually watched this thing before.
There's comedy obviously with his streams, but they are quite lengthy.
Yeah.
Repetitive. So I usually switch off after the first sort of 20 minutes.
Yeah, that happened to me as well.
Yeah.
I went on for a couple of minutes, but I had to go away, and I came back about 2 hours later.
Yeah. It's always drama usually though, rather than any specific point being made, and arguments with a different person usually every week. So, I mean, I can see why it's so popular.
Mm. Yeah, he's pushing this week to ban 2 people, isn't he? He's
yeah,
pushing.
And I'm not a fan of this snitching in the park and this informing on people to the police. I find it, first of all, very sad above everything else, but also morally questionable. And also, obviously the sort of target for not just Raj, but many is Omar. And they've sort of been trying to get him out of the park for some time. I mean, there's actually a petition with thousands and thousands of signatures to have him banned. But I think we mentioned before about this whole police situation. And again, I find it very, very childish that you've got fully grown men running to the police over someone being pushed in a park or someone saying something nasty in a park. And I'm sure the police probably look at it in a similar fashion, actually.
Yeah, I think so as well. Especially if they see that there's the people are behaving a certain way due to
Provocation, yeah, they're
exactly
being provoked.
correct. And also, all right, so he's asking for two specific people. He asked for Jai and Omar to be banned.
Well,
And
the thing is, again,
yeah.
I've seen some of the videos, but and I have no opinion because it's not my business on what anybody gets up to. But in relation to Jedi, it happened outside the park.
Yeah.
So that's that deaded straight there.
Yeah. Correct. Yeah. Yep. So it would be, but then he could potentially say it's due to what happens in the park.
Possibly. I mean, look, I've got no doubt because they've got their quarterly police meeting coming up in a couple of weeks. So I'm sure they've got folders and printouts to give to the police down there. And,
yeah.
You know,
true. Like last time.
yeah. But it didn't go how they wanted it to go last time. They thought they were going to literally get. I mean, they wanted to get Saeed banned back then. That was his goal, and he came down with printouts, and the story has been relayed, and he was basically told to just sort of piss off. So, you know, as I say, it's very sad, and I just don't like the culture of grassing. There's something about it that just doesn't sit well with me. I don't like it. I find it very strange, actually.
And it seems to be snitching when it suits you, not when it's the other way around. That's the way. Hey, legendary blue gamer, how are you doing?
I'm good.
Hey, what's happening?
Yeah, I actually just gained up to 250 subscribers.
Really?
Yes.
What's that, in 5 days? You done it in 5 days?
Yep.
Well done, excellent. So Pat, this is the legendary blue gamer.
Hello there.
He's from the US.
Okay.
And he's got a gaming channel. He's got like bare gaming consoles, loads of different games.
Right.
And, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Recently I was talking about cyberbullying and general trolling.
Really?
Yeah. Because recently children and when the servers were active, because apparently there's this clan in these servers, and where they now are on Adam Universe on the PlayStation 4, and they just keep harassing either middle-aged women or 13-year-old kids. They're known for that.
Yeah.
Which is kind of sad because those people shouldn't have to go through that.
No, that's true. Have you experienced anything like that? Any sort of cyberbullying, Chris? I think his connection's gone a little bit fuzzy. Yeah, Pat, you there, bro?
Yeah.
So that's interesting. In a week, he got 200 and something subscribers. Huh? That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's good. It's good going. I mean, on the cyberbullying thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess if you have a child now, it's a bit of a nightmare because the whole technology takes away the innocence of one's childhood, and sort of has created this very narcissistic, self-obsessed, look at me culture, where people are constantly on edge.
One of the people that I had to expose was God Life, because this guy, he's known for being the one who likes to beef up people and make them mad.
Right.
At certain times, because he if you don't know who God Life is, he's a PSN user. PSN is short for PlayStation Network, if you don't know that.
Yeah.
So yeah, like this dude, he's known for just beefing up conversations and doing beatboxing crap. And yeah, I told him that if he was watching that, like my video, I told him to just try to control your ego, because it's just not right to do that sort of stuff on PlayStation, because you're just ruining it for other people.
That's right. Well, that's yeah. Well, so you managed to stop him troubling you.
Well, I actually want. It was not me. It was not just me, but also some other people who had this trouble too, and they like they ran into me and saying, "Oh my God, God for Life is doing some shit," and I I had to do something about it. So I made like a video calling them out and saying, "Dude, control your ego. You're not a child anymore. You're a dang man."
No, is he a big man? Wow.
Yeah, he claims he's 30 years old already.
All right, nice one. So yeah, all right, Chris, we're just gonna carry on with the other panelists and see what how their day's been as well. Okay. Jordan's with the missus. Look at that. Jordan's with the missus. Is that a new Mrs. Jordan M, or is that Anyway, I won't pry into your private life. I'll leave it there. Although I'm sure a lot of the female viewers would be wanting to know the answer to that. Yeah, that's if I've got any female viewers. Apparently, there's a big following of female viewers. In my imagination, that is. Who's that laughing? Is that JK?
Hey, hello, JK.
Says JK joined the conversation, but he's not saying anything.
Oh.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you now.
Hey,
JK.
What?
Right. Okay.
Yeah, so Pat, didn't mean to interrupt you. What was it you saying about? You were talking about some. It was a couple of interruptions.
It's escaped my mind. It can't have been too important.
Yeah, first time you were talking about snitching, the culture of snitching.
this snitching down the park, it's a disgrace. And I think all of the people that go to these police meetings and actually engage in providing information to the police should be held in utter contempt. They should. That's my position here. I mean, because it's so petty. We're actually we're not dealing with serious issues of crime here. We're dealing about people that are doing it to try and get one over on someone else.
Yeah, exactly. Whose mic is that? JK, is that you? No, it's not. All right, yeah, no, I agree with you on that. It's like just playing a game. It's ego. And trying to get up by putting other people down.
Well, there's different levels to this police snitching, clearly. There's the sophisticated side to it, and we both agree on who we think is behind that. But then there's, as I say, the more petty side to it, which is this sort of daily streaming and screenshotting comments and collating information. I think they should be recorded live, these police meetings, just for entertainment purposes, and also to see the sort of, I can just imagine the sort of two-faced nature of them. And I'll just be intrigued to have like a look in. But out of principle, I would never go near it. But I think they should be at least recorded, or, as you mentioned last time, notes should be taken at the minimum. Yeah,
exactly. Although they'll probably say it's Chatham House rules and no comebacks and stuff. Otherwise, it will limit what people are willing to say in the meeting. That's the only.
Oh, right. Well, the idea that people are living in fear down the park of certain people, right? Yeah, it's the way, and also, a lot of the people that have issues have brought it on themselves, and I don't have much sympathy.
Yeah,
I really don't.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. And people changed. Like 1 minute they come out all guns blazing, and all of a sudden they become nice guys. And like they're the victim. That's another point. What was I going to say? Sorry, my mind's gone blank. I was going to say something. It was quite a good point, and it's gone out of my head. Yeah, like look at Omar when he got arrested by the terror police.
Yeah.
Now imagine having something like that on your record.
Well, this is how the more sophisticated and malicious side to Speaker's Corner, which again only comes from one quarter in my book. We all know, and I've got to know Omar over the last few weeks. we know that his buttons can be pushed so easily. And they know that. So they come down and they rile him up for days. And then he responds as any person would. And they know full well his comment to James Goddard did not warrant them calling the counter-terrorism police.
Yeah.
But that shows you the malicious nature. His mother's home getting raided by them. He's had more visits ever since then. His phone is still seized. And this is why down there you have to watch what you say, because people literally want to have people's houses raided, people's jobs lost. Mohammed Hijab lost his job, I believe, I read.
Yep.
For a park. But this is, as I say, the more sly side to it, a more worrying side. And also these police meetings are about dealing with certain individuals, clearly, that self-appointed wardens of the park have seen as troublemakers or problems when they themselves engage in similar behaviour.
That's true. I saw a clip on YouTube of Manny Cinder talking to some people at the park, and the police officer who was off duty that day. Yeah. And he's talking about a code of conduct.
I saw that. Just in principle, I would encourage everybody to break that code of conduct should this nonsense ever come in. It's just ridiculous. And what makes me laugh is, people say that I'm authoritarian. People say that the Muslims in the park are authoritarian. Yet the people that want to enforce the most rules and want to regulate people are the other side.
Yeah.
I'm not going around. You're not going around asking for rules to be put on people. They are, though, and they're obsessed with it. Obsessed. But I mean, let's be honest.
On one group only. They want it applied on one or two groups. Should I say.
Yeah. I mean, specifically, it's obviously targeting Muslims in the part number one.
Yeah.
And then when the opportunity arises, they will go after a gang as well. Yeah. Which is quite sad. But as I say, they have caused more trouble down that park with their sort of hang-ons and their various fascist friends that they call upon to come down than anybody else. I'd actually be interested to see, I'm not that interested that I'll actually make a freedom of information request, but I'd be interested to see how much police funding has been wasted at that park and correlated to the days that the fascists have come down. Because that's the only time you've got the tactical support group down there and riot police, and it will cost thousands. So, these British nationalists, they're actually, I couldn't care less, but they are literally screwing their own taxpayers over. For what? Yeah. To come down to a park and shout obscenities at Muslims.
And somebody made a comment earlier in the chat that the speaker's corner has changed. It's not like it used to be. And that's the same thing that, what's his name? Manny Cinder was saying to justify his new code of conduct.
But Manny Cinder, sorry to interrupt you there, but we have to be very clear. Manny Cinder is associating with the sort of people that come down and cause friction. If he was a clean character, he might have something to stand upon. But when you see him down Tommy Robinson rallies, filming it and glad handing all the people down there and basically encouraging them to come to Speaker's Corner, how can he get on his high horse? Yeah,
that's true. What was the point I was getting at? Yeah, but however, when you look back at old videos of Speaker's Corner, there isn't much that's changed. I'll tell you what has changed, in my opinion. The speakers that used to come in the old days, well, a lot of them, they were quite funny. They had some sort of eccentric character about them, and they were actually comedic. And there's quite a few. You can look back at some old videos. There was a guy called Sammy, somebody, a Moroccan guy. There was Ishmael Blagrove. There was that old, I think she was an Irish lady. I don't remember her name. Diane, maybe? I don't know.
Yes, I remember.
Many others.
The racist one.
Yeah. But they were all funny. They could engage with the crowd and make jokes. That was the only real difference. Nowadays, you've got lots of people still, eccentric characters, but not necessarily funny. That's the only thing I see that's different. But there were lots more people at the park back in the old days. It used to be really crowded. And I guess it gets more crowded during the summer than any other time. We're in winter time now. So people are saying it's changed, but has it really? The only thing that's changed is now we have the online world where we can continue the discussion. So we have different channels of speakers at the park who are going online and talking, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. That's just people want that conversation to continue.
It depends. It depends who's running the show, really. So you've got two types of channel. You've got debate channels and discussion channels, and then you've got channels that are purely based on drama and conflict.
Yeah.
And again, they get the most viewers, obviously, but you know, like your channel is based on discussion, and there's other examples of that. Raj's channel is purely based on drama, and even his presence in the park is based on drama. It's not based on constructive discussion or debate. I mean, I would say the introduction of the mobile phone camera to the park, and I haven't been going long at all, but just when you see 6 or 7 or 8 people huddled around one person filming them, I mean, you're not going to be natural to the camera. Nobody ever is. And furthermore, when there's conflict, people's egos will get involved. You know you're on camera. You can't ever be seen to back down. It's just always going to spiral out of control and probably lead to physical confrontation. And I think the far right have clocked this, and they know full well that they can wind someone up a week, like Omar. Know full well he'll come down to the park, because at the end of the day, he's a man. He's got pride. And whatever way he chooses to deal with it, that's his own way. But they know that they can do it whenever they want. And there's other people that are fallen victim to this. That's why the best thing to do is ignore it. But we can all fall into that trap, potentially, of being riled up. Because we see these people. They literally are waging a campaign on Omar, for instance. And it is, number one, if you go on the far right social media pages, he's on all of them. If you look at their Twitter accounts and Facebook pages,
have you got any? Do you know any pages? I could have a look.
Well, if you go back to the time when he threatened James Goddard, that's when it really started. Based Welshman, he's always because what I do is I just type Speaker's Corner into Twitter and then go latest and scroll down for what people are saying throughout the week. And Omar also appeared. If you go on Twitter and go through the latest and scroll down, if you actually put to Speaker's Corner, and I don't like saying it, Rat Boy, you will see like the obsession over him, and they know full well for their far right propaganda, it's perfect, isn't it? They frame it as angry young Muslim man screaming abuse at non-Muslims. That's how they frame it. All of the backstory is completely missed. They don't know for the 6 days prior to the Sunday, he's been getting death threats, abuse, people talking about his family. It's like a pantomime, really. Yeah.
Wow.
He's also on Steve's Twitter. If you go, you'll find Omar. Your appearance is there.
Gosh.
Yeah, give right and left. Or something.
Yeah, I'm trying to see if I can access.
And he has quite a big. I think he's followed by Bill Warner.
Who is? Stephen. I'm just trying to sort out my Internet Explorer link.
Hi guys. How you were talking about like discussion channels earlier and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Well, I actually know one discussion channel.
Yeah.
And he's a friend of mine in the UK.
Who's that?
He goes by the Grade A Under A.
Grade A Under A. Okay.
Yep.
Nice. What does he talk about?
He talks about controversial things amongst like how recently he's talked about how the mayor Kennedy said that he changed mankind to people kind because he thinks so some women and he also covers like the gay people because of how on how and on how they're getting picked on by straight men because he's known for not just that but also some political things in general, such as the election and so on and so forth.
Yeah. Wow. Cool. So what's the hottest game right now, gamer?
What?
What's the best game right now?
Oh, the best game. I was like, Atom Universe. It's
Which one?
It's a socializing game and where Atom Universe.
Say that one more time.
It's a game and where you can socialize.
Can you type the name of it in the chat? Because I didn't hear you. Sorry.
All right, I'll type it into this Hangouts chat.
Okay.
Earth. There we go. Atom Universe. It's called Atom Universe. It's. I put that in the group chat already.
Okay, I'll check it out. Thanks for that.
Yeah, and I also put a link to my troll video discussion on the PlayStation Home about PlayStation Home. On,
all right, thanks. Yeah. I'll look at that. I'll share it as well. Thanks for that. Who's that? Who's joined the chat? Someone else joined. Alaikum salam.
Oh yeah, Unknown is here. Unknown is here.
Abu Mujahid.
Yeah, bro.
What's happening, bro? You all right?
Yeah, man. How are you?
Yeah, good, thanks. How was your dissertation? Did you submit it?
Yeah.
Well done, bro. Well done. Finally got over and done with.
Yeah, man. Hope so. I hope it don't come back saying I need to improve it.
No harm in that, bro. Even after.
What do you mean improve it?
As in, my teachers are quite unofficial.
Is that the final copy?
Yeah, it is. But obviously, I have like nice teachers who will quickly mark it before, submitting it and say, look, if you want to quickly just change a couple things, I can maybe improve your grade.
See, I'm writing a paper right now, antibiotics now, and we have to give it into the office. So, they give it to the teacher, see it until the mark comes out, and that's it.
Yeah, obviously,
that's it.
When I was doing my bachelor's, obviously, I was doing it at Leicester. Everything's so official and but luckily, because I'm doing my master's at a more low-key institution, it's still a master's accredited degree, but it's like, it's just much more laid back with the work, and they're much more closer to the students.
What's his name? Kilowatt says Mr. Amars was circling Green Lane Masjid looking for you, Abu Mujahid.
Why? Who's that?
I think he's the Brawi guy.
Maulid guy.
Maulid guy, yeah.
Why was he looking for
the Maulid?
How do you know he was circling the masjid looking for him, Kilowatt? Nikki Travis says message retracted. Oh, by the way, Pat, are you still there? I don't know if you are.
Yeah, I'm here.
Did you see the video of whenever Ralph is in the park? I don't know if you noticed it. There's this short little white guy that stands next to him.
There's a lot of short little white guys.
There's one in particular. I've forgotten his name. He was once going to have a fight with Omar, and Omar said, "I'll stamp on your head." And the guy goes,
he came at me before Omar. I had an altercation with him.
Oh, Pat.
Outside the park as well. And he's gone into hiding now because of what he did to Anna Soubry.
No, not him. He's part of the same group, though. This guy, let me find a picture.
Is he stocky or is he thin?
No, he's not. He's actually lost weight as well over the past few months.
Is he because every second Sunday, the so-called men's right activists turn up, and their political ideology is not exactly the same as Ralph's, but it's in that camp of Trumpism, and they're there.
Did you ever see a video where it was the time that Tan was at the park? He always used to be standing in the background next to Tan, and one day Omar and him were going at it.
Oh, I know who you mean. Yeah. I know who you mean. I know.
Omar said, "I'll step." Yeah, young guy, that one.
Usually got got a can of Stella in his hand. And
Yes, him.
yeah.
Blonde hair, or sort of blonde.
I know who you mean. Yeah.
He's always in the background or to the side of standing next to Ralph all the time. I wonder if he's his paid security.
Well, I'm sure you could pick a more
because
capable...
he comes to the park and doesn't have anything to talk about, but he's always by his side. So I've
had one brief encounter with him. I didn't say much. He was speaking to somebody I was speaking to. I've seen him have a debate with Jedi about slavery. And
he was probably defending it.
Where he was
slavery.
He was defending. Yeah, he was. You know, all of the usual arguments that you would expect from a Brit, where they're basically, you know, black people sold it, all that kind of stuff. You know, load of nonsense. So it was that kind of debate we've all heard 100 times in the park before. So he does discuss, but he's always been in the Islamophobe camp in the park.
All the time.
But I don't think he's a very capable security guard. I mean, it's quite weedy.
It's one of the cheaper options, probably.
maybe he gets in the can of Stella, and that's him done for the day. But I mean, Ralph's becoming quite a prominent figure in the park now and online.
He's getting lots of airtime.
His views are obviously very dangerous, and I mean that when I say it. These are the views that have, you know, led to genocide and the slaughter of people. These views were justified to wage colonial campaigns on more than half the planet. But the thing with Ralph is, I think he hides beneath this veneer of respectability. I mean, I would be of the opinion that you cannot distinguish him from a neo-Nazi. He even said he believes in the 14 words, which is a neo-Nazi slogan. Only neo-Nazis use that. Nobody else does. So only white supremacists. So he's made his views quite clear, but I think he's probably aware that people are ignorant to the internal sort of runnings of fascism these days. And as I say, he hides under this veil of respectability, so probably gets away with it.
He bundles his rhetoric amongst a bunch of word salad, as they describe it, of scientific mumbo jumbo. It's a regurgitated index. Yeah, it's a regurgitated index from a biology textbook.
Exactly.
And the good thing is, everybody seems to have noticed that.
But see, this is my position would be, and people can say what they want about this. I don't think people like that should be given a platform. I think their views should be exposed, and maybe there's a little bit more to expose on him, particularly the 14 words. But once that's done, I think if you share a platform with this, you're literally giving free rein to an ideology here, which I mean, I don't believe in free speech anyway, in the sense that people down that park do, where they think they can say what they want. I think there should be limits placed on it. But his views are really dangerous. And it's bizarre because he is actually non-white, yet he believes in white supremacy and believes that white supremacy is what needs to be sort of kept in power in order to better the world. I mean, kind of crazy. I've never come across someone who's of non-white extraction defending white supremacy like that. But, you know, the park attracts all kinds of nutters and weirdos. Also, I think there's some delusions of grandeur from what he said. I had a brief discussion with him in the park, and he usually wears a MAGA hat, a Make America Great Again hat. But when he came to me, he had a Union Jack hat on, and he was, I mean, he's actually in content of everything.
It's unbelievable, isn't it?
The next thing's unbelievable. If you actually go and watch my discussion with him, he was boasting that this hat belonged to his cousin, who was in the British Army in Iraq, and he was boasting that it had the blood of innocent Iraqis on it.
Don't tell me that. He
You
said
can
that.
go. You can go
Is that
and
on
watch
video?
it. Yes, it's on video. Yeah.
Oh, that's shocking. Now I didn't.
Now, whether or not that's true, it's irrelevant because, again, like I say, he also was boasting of his ties to the British intelligence network and how he had done research on me and whatnot. But so I think there's delusions there. But the point is whether or not the story about the hat is true, and he was just being, you know, confrontation or trying to provoke them. But the point is, it's a disgusting thing to say.
Yeah,
that's the mindset we're dealing with.
Like when we were watching him on the COE panel a few nights ago, me and others on the panel, we kind of came to the conclusion that he could just be a troll, and in a sense of which Tan was a troll and Raj was a troll at some point as well.
You're not wrong, but what we have to understand is Ralph has been very open with what his political allegiance is, and he describes it as neo-reactionary. He describes it as beyond Trumpism, but he's a supporter of Trump. Now, the whole neo-reactionary movement of the modern age is actually based on trolling. The whole idea of memes, using memes. So he is a troll, but I don't think that detracts from his beliefs. I do genuinely believe he means what he says, but he utilizes trolling, as do these. They call themselves meme lords and stuff like this. And even on Content Over Everything tonight, he referred to himself as a high priest.
Wow.
So it's all that sort of nonsense talk, but I do believe he is being sincere when he says what he says.
So that can be a sort of get out of jail card by saying it was a joke, or it was a meme, or I'm just trolling. If things were to
there's that side to it, I guess, but more so, it's proven to be very effective. The neo-reactionaries and people of that political persuasion, you'll often see them say stuff like the left can't meme. Whilst it might seem very geeky and very nerdy and sad to the likes of me and you, the fact is the memes they produced throughout the Donald Trump election campaign and so on and so forth got shared millions of times, to probably very apolitical people who see these memes that the trolls of the neo-reactionaries put out, and they believe them. We've all seen them. The most crude and base ones would be like ones we see on Facebook of, bacon has been banned in Britain to appease Muslims. We've all seen that sort of nonsense. But theirs would also take the form of more sophisticated trolling, and they would plant stories and exaggerate and outwardly lie to further their political goals under the guise of trolling. And Reddit was a post of this, and 4chan and all of these websites which have nerdy people on them. And I think Ralph is a bit of a nerd anyway. He's a computer geek, self-confessed. So
claims to be. Yeah.
Claims to be, yeah.
He claims to be good friends with the boss of Microsoft, whoever that is right now. So there's a few things. I don't know how true anything what he says.
That's why I did say there's some delusion, obviously, amongst all this as well. But I do genuinely think he means what he says in relation to his politics.
The three I's, the biggest threats to Europe, he says. What did he say? Integration, something else, and Islamization.
Integration, immigration, Islamization, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, it's. At least he's open, I guess. That's one thing you could give to him.
He's one of those, anyway. He's only one of those.
Yeah, there's other people in the park who are not so candid with their viewpoints, and it's interesting to see. Those that associate with Ralph and, as you say, hang around him, those are the people of interest, because they obviously don't have the courage of their convictions to say it. So we'll use Ralph, and with Ralph being non-white as well, comes this benefits. If you're promoting the idea that white supremacy is what the world needs in order to prosper, and literally that's what he promotes, but you're a non-white person, it certainly helps you. If it was sort of a knuckle-dragging neo-Nazi, because that's sort of the people that profess this, people wouldn't take them too seriously, they would be mocked. But Ralph comes with some articulation as well. And like I say, this respectability that he's now got, it's very dangerous. Because, we have to be realistic. There's Trump, there's the Brazilian guy, Bolsonaro, we have the coup underway in Venezuela, we've got Hungary, we've got Italy, we've got all these new far-right groups. And people are literally sleepwalking into this and thinking, let them have their say. I say don't let them have their say. That's my position. And I would be for curtailing their so-called free speech as well.
And that's what Steve Bannon said when he came onto what's that morning show with Piers Morgan? He came on there one day.
Good Morning Britain.
Yeah. When Donald Trump came to visit the UK, he was on that show, and he was talking about pushing the nationalist agenda throughout Europe.
And it's evident, isn't it? I mean, and what is one of the tools of the nationalists? I mean, there's two different types of nationalism as well, we have to remember, in Europe. But overwhelmingly, the most popular form of nationalism is reactionary nationalism, which is the likes of British nationalism. And at the front of that, for the last number of years, has been specifically an anti-Islam rhetoric, because it's a very easy sell. So this is why you see people saying to the likes of Raj, you know, these people don't like you either. You are a useful tool to them for the time being. But ultimately, whether it be Britain First, whether it be the Tommy Robinson Brigade, they deliberately only focus on Islam because they know the wider public, because of the mass media attention given to small isolated incidents of terror and the idea Muslims are taking over Europe. Most people, it seems, from my encounters in Britain, fall into this trap of believing this nonsense. Yeah. So it's an easy, I mean, right-wing politics has always been an easy sell, but have you noticed they don't say anything about other groups anymore, per se?
Correct. Yeah.
But they certainly still harbor those views on other groups. They're just keeping them to themselves. And this is why, you know, you've got useful idiots that don't see that they're actually assisting and possibly aiding and abetting their own downfall in the future.
Yeah. Tanvir Kima, that's an insult, so I'm going to have to delete your message. It was a bit rude.
Like, you know, that you know how you guys mentioned the president and those like memes that have been going around since like 2016.
Say that again.
You know how you've been talking about those like presidential memes?
Yeah.
Well, like there's this channel called College Humor where they made a Grinch parody of the president himself, and where they would throw off like him doing some racist jokes and calling women ugly.
Yeah. What's it called?
You're a mean one, Mr. Trump. Have you seen that? You know, it's a Grinch parody of the president.
Okay. We'll check it out. Yeah, it's sad.
It's like one of those YouTube memes nowadays that people look at and think, "Oh my God, Trump's a bad person, and we should not support him anymore."
And also that I get what you're saying, Pat. So far, there's not much I can disagree with you about. That by attacking Islam, it kind of knocks down a few birds with one stone as well, because it encompasses different ethnicities.
Exactly.
Who are mostly non-European in their majority.
And sort of the age-old reply we've got used to in the park and I guess wider society is, you know, you can't be racist to a religion. Is the reply. So, you know,
exactly.
And then they go, you know, then if you change the word to bigoted, you probably can get a conversation out of them, I guess. But, you know, it's, as you say, it's a very easy sell. I mean, interestingly, though, you know, we have seen in the last year, I would say, the censoring of certain Islamophobic movements. So the question is, the state allowed Islamic movements to prosper in Britain for probably the last 5 years, definitely on a big scale. You know, Britain First has literally been wound down now. There was a time when you wouldn't, you know, Britain First was in the media every day. Okay. There's some kind of stuff. Now they've been wound down. They've been criminalized. Robinson's still going strong, although that the antics he got up to with that Syrian boy who was being bullied was to his detriment, you could argue. But the BNP was wound down as well in the end. UKIP now is in disarray, I would say. You know, they give this idea they're positive. I mean, they've lost their most charismatic leader, who actually warned them about letting in hooligan types and thuggish types before he left, and said it would ultimately work against their aims for Brexit, and Brexit would be turned into a circus. And you can actually see that now. I mean, when the whole Anna Soubry incident took place, you had the Brexit narrative for a couple of weeks literally focused on a few fools who stood outside Parliament 7 days a week giving abuse to people. So I actually think that they're not the most sophisticated of movements in that sense. They actually do a lot of damage to their cause. And they would come back and argue it's down to agent provocateurs or British state influence. And there might well be some truth to that, actually. You know, I have no doubt that the British intelligence services keep tab on all of these groups and will try and mold them and direct them in various ways. But it'll be interesting to see where they go. I mean, Nigel Farage is apparently setting up a new party, the rumours are going. And if that's true, it will split the UKIP vote anyway. So they're actually, when you sit back and think about it, you know, they're a danger, but they are in Britain anyway, not in the rest of Europe. There's other issues there, but in Britain, they're screwing themselves over with all their internal feuding, bickering. They split so often. They fall out over minor differences. You know, in their own movement, someone literally having a difference of opinion can lead to them being labelled a traitor or a police informant. That guy who stormed a socialist bookshop in London called Luke Nash Jones, and he was behind the Make Britain Great Again movement. He's literally now an outcast for refusing to share a platform with a Nazi. So even within their own movement, they've got all these contradictions they have to overcome. And there's so many egos within it. And also, has to be said, so many people that literally cannot articulate themselves, that they often get the wrong end of the stick of what each other are saying and are at each other's throat. So, and I think for the most part, we can sit back and laugh at them. It's only when the British state is actually guiding and directing these movements that it becomes a real cause for concern. And the question is, how involved is the British state and the various institutions of the British state in moulding these organisations? I think we'd have to be naive to assume that they haven't been involved at all over the years.
Yeah, that's true. Did you say Hillsborough? No, sorry. What did you just say?
I said we'd have to be naive to assume that the British state and its structures have not been involved in directing and facilitating these groups over the years. It's just a question of how involved they are presently and how involved they were in the past. And no one will ever know that anyway.
Yeah. Do you see that it would be in the interest of any government to have these types of opposing groups?
Oh, I mean, if we actually just deal with fact and what we know of the past, it came out recently. A list was provided. It was in all of the mainstream press of what groups British security services had infiltrated. And, you know, there was animal rights groups, including the police as well, security services police. There was animal rights groups. There was communist groups. There was some right-wing groups. So any group, whether it be left, right-wing, or whatever agenda it has, if that group is threatening the status quo of the state, if that group is a potential threat to the state, however small that threat may be, the state are going to take an interest. And that's every state. It's not unique to Britain. So again, if they were doing it in the 1970s, the 1980s, and the 1990s, and we have examples and facts on this, we would have to be forced to assume it's not going on now, and probably on a much more sophisticated scale with the technology. They don't need to literally always have a mole within these organisations. But I would say to people to go and look at the list of the groups they infiltrated, and it was across the board. It wasn't specific to any political group or political leaning. I mean, even when it comes to what people were referred to, quote unquote, Islamist groups, there's examples of people for the intelligence services infiltrating them. The same with Irish Republican groups, the same with loyalist groups, the same with Scottish nationalists. The SNP was infiltrated in the 1950s. So we have to assume that the British intelligence services and various factions of the police, there was even a police unit. I'm sure people will remember the whole scandal of undercover police fathering children with environmental activists when they were actually spies. Yeah. So, and that's in recent years. Yeah. We've got this. It's not, 20, 30 years ago. It's in the last 10 years. Yeah. So we've got examples of this, and we have to assume that the far right and Islamophobic groups are infiltrated. And you will actually hear people within the far right and Islamophobic movement claiming that themselves whenever there's like an issue. I mean, that guy at the park who confronted me, they now say that he's an undercover police officer because he caused them embarrassment. Yeah. So theirs is ridiculous to save their own skin. But there will be people within there that assist the state. I mean, Nigel Farage said as much himself. He, on LBC late last year, opened just about the time that the DFLA and Tommy Robinson was made an advisor to Gerard Batten. He was boasting of his role in destroying the BNP. Now, whether you think that's negative or positive, that to one side, he actually played a role there and assisted the British state. So we have to put politics aside on this, I think. And we have to realise that the British state ultimately is who directs and guides the politics in this country. And they're actually trying to get a lid, as we mentioned earlier about the whole meme warfare of Ralph's mob. The EU was trying to get a lid on that. They were actually trying to pass a bill about memes influencing politics, and much of the discourse on the American election and Russian interference, and this idea of trolls factories where you've got thousands of people trolling for Russia. I mean, it may well be true, and probably is true, but the British state, the British Army, literally has a brigade. People can Google this. It's called the 77th Brigade, and their role is to troll. Their role is to push forward a pro-British Army narrative on social media. Now, every state actor, every nation state will obviously have something like this. And they're very open with it in some cases. It's just about joining the dots. I mean, that's where people then go down the rabbit hole of conspiracy, because you then wonder what is true and what isn't true. But I prefer to just deal with the fact rather than going down that road.
Have you heard of somebody called Jim Dawson or Dawson?
Yeah, Jim Dawson, who literally created the BNP. He was the finance and brains behind the BNP. And the reason the BNP used to hold crosses, do you remember they used to always have that Christian undertone to that organization, was because Jim Dawson is a fundamentalist Christian, and his roots are in the anti-abortion campaign in the United States, the types that would sort of firebomb abortion clinics, evangelical Christianity, essentially. And he's very wealthy, and he's been behind the BNP as well, and funding various Islamophobic movements across Europe, actually, not just in Britain. His roots are in Ulster loyalism, interestingly. So he would, prior to the whole Islamophobic industry, he was very much part of the idea of promoting loyalism, which is a supremacist ideology based on race and religion in the north of Ireland. But on the Britain First thing, he created them. He literally was the brains behind them. And now Britain First has been wound down, and it's essentially just an organisation that operates in the 6 counties of Ireland. And they've actually run into some issues with rival factions there in recent weeks. Jada Franson is starting a new project. I don't know exactly what it will entail, but one would question, is Jim Dawson the funder and backer of this? Probably so. What's your thoughts on him? Do you know much about him?
I never heard of him until last week.
Right.
There's a YouTuber called Kip's Clips. That's the name of his channel. And we've known each other for a long time. Yeah. So he pointed him out, and there was a Channel 4 interview with him. I don't remember much about it because I didn't watch the whole thing.
He was caught up in some controversy, wasn't he?
Yeah, I don't know what though.
Arms right. Well, I think there was some controversy. I think it was some Eastern European state, and he was assisting sort of a paramilitary-esque organisation, if my memory
that's right.
serves right. Because Nick Griffin now, I think, lives in Hungary or somewhere like that, and he's like a hero there. Yeah, and he says Britain is lost. That's it. He says, Britain is now lost, and there's no way of winning. So he's moved out to Eastern Europe and supporting rabid racism there. But I mean, there's a lot of fringe characters. There's one character on YouTube called Joey Owens, who's an out-and-out National Socialist, proper Jew hater and hates anybody who's not white English, essentially. Yeah. And he makes these videos, and he's actually worth a watch because he's constantly arguing within his own camp and makes very public videos about them. And it's a good insight into the internal bickerings and feudings within the British nationalist / white nationalist movement. And his belief is that they need to get hold of local elections and then obviously Parliament. And this is the thing I was mentioning earlier about these groups being wound down. Essentially, in Britain anyway, power comes from politics, from electoral politics. It's not the same in other parts of the world, but it is true in Britain. And all of the marching on the street that the fascists do, the DFLA, the Tommy Robinson Brigade, really, it's just an afternoon saunter where they get to, release some of their frustration. It doesn't actually translate into any real change. And the numbers at these marches have been dwindling because, by and large, the wider British public probably look at them as insane, the same way that you would look at the lefties on the other side as a bit insane. It's just two opposing sides on a Saturday afternoon hurling abuse at each other for a couple of hours and then going home. In the electoral politics field, UKIP had 4 million votes and stole Labour heartlands, old mining towns. So we're aware that and UKIP now is out and out an Islamophobic party. It's literally now been molded into that, which is interesting because Gerard Batten was running against Anne-Marie Waters and was pushing the line against that back then, but now he's accepted it. I think they're actually destroying their own movements through lack of probably really though, because they're not stupid people. Some of them, you have to question why UKIP, in my opinion, and I see it as a positive because I don't like UKIP, but why UKIP would think it's a sensible idea to associate with street hooliganism, which is going to put off a hell of a lot of their voters. So, as I say, our focus should be on the British state and the internal structures of the British state and what they're up to and their role in facilitating various movements. I think focusing just on, your silly fascists, and there's still a danger. There's still the people that will rip someone's headscarf off in the street. There's still, I don't know if you saw that viral video of that man in Tower Hamlets last week who was filming.
No.
Oh God, were you?
Oh, on the bus. Yeah. I think
I
Saeed shared it. Yeah.
So these people are a danger, to individuals, but ultimately it's the British state that is the main source of all of this nonsense.
Yeah.
And purveyors of it.
Interesting.
Hey.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, go on, bro.
Are you two? Okay, go for it, Gamer.
Oh yeah. I was just gonna say I posted a link for you guys in the group chat. If you want to check out, Grady Underay. He does some good points on what you guys are talking about right now.
Yeah.
Like, on what he did in the past. Like, he made some good points on what you're saying right now. Like, and the whole racist jokes. So yeah, like the YouTube. I put a link to his channel. So if you want to see his channels on. If you want to see his stuff on
that
Trump.
I just pasted it there.
Stuff.
Yeah, thanks.
Check him out and see if you might like him or not. Because this guy is funny and he actually has great points. So I know what you guys are talking about. But,
thanks a lot, bro. And I saw your comment as well. So everybody, Chris, he said, what did you write? It's gone now. I can't see it. What was the last comment you wrote? You said, make the world great again? Is that what you said? Yeah. Make our world great again. Make our world great again. Great thing to say. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Because it's our world, isn't it? We're all a part of it. We're not different. We're all neighbors. We're all part of it. So that's
we all differ
nice
on greatness, don't we?
Make our world great again.
Recently I've been watching the news and there's there's debate going on with North Korea and Trump, and Trump has been picking on Kim Jong-un for his bomb materials recently and saying that you should just shut down your bomb transplant and because obviously because the North Korea thinks America the devil and saying, hey, we're gonna go dash to our enemy. Geez, man, you don't want to go too extreme in America. They're nice people. There's a few fascists here and there in the States, and depending on where you're at, but you have to get to know them. So now what people are doing these days is making Kim Jong-un memes. There's this you've heard about this the Despacito meme, right?
No, what's that one?
Oh, it goes Despacito do and so they made a joke about Kim Jong-un riding on a nuke to the United States and then accidentally killing himself in the Pacific.
Yeah, man. Nice one. So I've got a comment for you, Pat. What do you think of this? Talking about conspiracies.
Mm-hmm.
Now, let me just preempt this with a shout out to Respect and to Jedi both, because I've been on both of their panels and they've treated me well. So shout out to them. The question is this, and it's just for discussion.
Right.
At the part, well, we know that Raspec's on his way back to 1,000 subscribers. He's on a mission to achieve that. It's almost there.
Right. Okay.
Needs a few more. Needs the final push. Now, what's going to get you that? It's going to be your channel, what you're showing on there. And you know that Raspect brought his camera to the park this week, right? Which is unusual for him. He doesn't normally film.
Well, I think he commandeered Mr. Rax's camera, who lets people sort of walk around with it. Yeah.
But it was still on his channel, right? On his own channel that he was showing.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. And also, there's no footage of Oz actually being hit. Okay.
Right.
There's footage of something happening. Some noise, a camera falling down on the ground.
Okay.
Is it the case that this was a pre-planned incident where Jedi would pretend to hit Oz?
This is your conspiracy for the park, right?
Yeah. Okay. It gets the views, it gets the subscribers, it gets the talk.
The 9/11
the buzz going.
Okay. The truth world. Okay.
There is no footage of it. Normally there's tons of cameras around, right?
Well, it wasn't in the park though. It was in the McDonald's.
It was outside the park, yeah. Still, fair enough.
There's not going to be. It would only be the people associated with them, I guess.
It is a bit odd. You have to say. But why was Raspect filming? He never films.
So wait, hold on. Let me get it straight. So you think, in order to get to the 1,000 subscriber mark, a fight has been staged for the purpose of getting another 150 subscribers or so?
I don't think that. I'm just saying.
Has anyone else put?
What do you think of the probability of this? Using a conspiracy.
Very unlikely. Probably the least unlikely conspiracy.
Possible.
No, I don't think so.
What's the likelihood of Raspect bringing the camera down to the park?
Well, as I say, I believe he was using Mr. Rex's camera.
Yeah. But broadcasting on his own channel. He doesn't do that. He doesn't normally do that.
I have to say, my belief is, from what I was told prior to all this happening, was he was going to use Mr. Rex's camera for the purpose of having a debate with Raj live on air.
Yeah.
And what he called, quote unquote, roasting the pigeon. And he wanted to do it in real life live.
Why did they go to McDonald's anyway?
Maybe to use the toilet, maybe to get something to eat.
And film it as well.
Well, but people film everything in that park. It's not unusual for people to film, and actually to play devil's advocate here, because again I'm only going what I hear on the chats. I think Raspect said he was filming for the purpose of conflict resolution and wanted to film a conflict being resolved. So that's why it was being filmed, I believe.
Normally, Omar's filming everything. He's got like the I don't know how many batteries he's got for extra power.
Yeah,
his phone lasts all day.
A big pack.
Yeah. But anyway, that's something to think about.
And also, I would imagine if you were filming what you would hope to have been conflict resolution, and it then turns into a bit of a, kerfuffle, that you would then put the camera away from that because you don't want to incriminate nor get anything that could be used against you on camera. That's why it probably wasn't filmed, rather than it not taking place. But are you going to be putting this conspiracy forward, or?
Well, I've talked about it publicly. It's just a suggestion. Who knows? It's something that has to be asked.
So, and that's all to try and get up to 1,000 subs, you reckon? That's
I don't know.
Right.
It's possible.
Okay.
It's not impossible. I don't know.
Would you get 1,000
people
subs?
are YouTubers at the end of the day, right?
Right, but what does 1,000 subs benefit you with?
It allows you to get super chat enabled.
Right, okay. The monetization.
Get paid.
Right.
Sadly, Raspect's channel got demonetized some time ago. So he had to open up the new one.
Right.
If you remember, he went to Amsterdam
Yes, I do remember the rap video.
Yeah, so he made some good money on his channel. And I don't know why he got demonetized. I think that was unfair.
I don't think he got demonetized. I think he got a
He
strike.
did.
I think he got a strike.
But
he
if you
got
get
demonetized.
a strike, you lose your.
If you get demonetized, you can't stream.
No, he can't stream. He had to set up a new channel to stream.
Correct.
That was the purpose of the new channel, I think.
So you know, that's something to think about.
You put it out there now, so I'm sure someone will jump on it, and there'll probably be an 8-hour stream discussing it and other conspiracy. I mean, there might even be a conspiracy about you now reaction as to why you're putting that forward. You know.
Well, I have to think about it. I have to talk about it.
I know you guys are talking about like demonetization right now.
Yeah.
And I want to bring up a point on how there's I've seen some false claims around people who are doing innocent things, and then boom, people get demonetized. Like that's like, I know in general, like YouTube is just like saying, oh, company first, we don't care until you're proven guilty and stuff. Like that's what happened to I Hate Everything on his channel in 2017. And then
he got demonetized.
He got his channel back.
He got it back.
Well, yeah, obviously, because he was like doing some random shit that nobody even heard of, like the I Hit Everything room video, like his video of that got taken down, and that it was not just him, but also like 5 others as well, which I don't know who they were, but one of them was his good friend Sean for some reason, because I don't know why, but I guess I'm pretty sure it was like for community reasons. So
yeah, interesting. Thanks for that input. The camera break, the one that fell on the floor?
I've got no idea.
Is Oz in hospital? Is he hurt?
I don't know.
No,
how
he's fine.
Right.
He's fine. He got punched in the face by Jedi with an uppercut, and he's fine.
Somebody said he's fine. Somebody said he's fine.
I doubt it.
Somebody said he's fine. That is close.
He's fine.
Well, he's good. That's what somebody said. That's close to him.
Yeah, I'm sure. Uppercut from Jedi wouldn't hurt much with it.
How tall is Oz? Like 5'3" or something? 5'2".
No, well, according to Omar, he's 4'9", but
okay, let's say he is, and
he's not too tall. Yeah,
and Jedi's like 6'3" heavyweight, so it's a bit of a mismatch. So he should be hurt.
You reckon it's a fake?
A bit of a mismatch.
Nah, he should have, like, if it was a real
should be in
punch,
hospital, right?
He should have his jaw broken, to be honest. No, he shouldn't have it. I mean, if he actually got punched hard, something must be broken, definitely. Because we see people in the same size punch each other and they can get hurt badly. Someone double your size can cause significant damage.
Wait, why did they?
I watch a lot of UFC, so.
Why did they get into a scuffle in the end? In the beginning? Why did they? What was the issue in the first place?
Basically, Omar and Oz had a problem, and they were going to fight.
Okay.
And this was the week before. Okay. So what happened was Jedi kind of pulled them both to the side, and I think he was trying to do this conflict resolution thing, but they thought he was trying to get them to fight each other to cause more drama.
He was, wasn't he?
I'm not sure what the truth is, but he did pull them to the side, and he smacked Omar's phone to stop recording. And then Oz was like, "I thought you're about this resolution thing. Why are you trying to get us to fight?" And then he turned on Jedi, and then he actually wanted to fight him, and then he got smacked or punched. Wow.
Do you know
Even
what?
if it was a smack, it must have hurt badly.
I think them guys would have fed off of Muslims fighting physically, because they feeding off Muslims verbally attacking each other all the time. Why would they?
I don't think it was a Muslim thing. I don't think.
No, but are they both Muslim?
Who? Jedi.
Oz and Omar.
I don't know what Oz is, but I don't know.
No, I think he is.
Did you hear on the video? Someone said, "Do your magic." So in McDonald's, somebody said to Oz, Do your magic, bro. Do your magic.
Do you not think, though, sometimes the best way for a conflict to be resolved
It's a fight.
probably is through a bit of a fist fight?
I think it is sometimes.
And ultimately, sometimes words have gone too far, and the best way for people to move on maybe engaging in something like that.
Release the energy.
I think a lot of people in the park put too much focus on, pushing and shoving and, move on. It's a fight. It's happened. It's part of life, isn't it?
I kind of agree, to be honest. I mean, I don't like fighting myself, but sometimes it's a good way to release the energy.
Jordan M says, "Throw your bang."
Fighting is important sometimes, but not Speaker's Corner, man.
Or as Raspberry said, it's swingers.
Chat shit, get banged.
But that's true. That's true, though, isn't it? Though that's true. Though there's some truth to it. There's only so much, I guess, a person. Everyone's got their own toleration levels, but if you're berating someone, insulting someone, especially in front of cameras, where it's going to be seen by possibly tens of thousands of people, egos are going to come out. You've got to defend yourself, and ultimately, nobody's going to want to look like a weakling or pushover. So I see more violence coming probably because of that very reason. I bet most people don't even want to engage in violence, but they feel compelled. They have to in front of the camera.
I think if both parties are consenting, a one-on-one fight, it's not too bad. It's not the worst thing that could happen.
Just don't film it. Just don't film it.
Likely.
I don't know. This conspiracy thing is growing on me, bro.
Oh, you're mad. You're mad.
Pat, can I ask you a question?
Sure, you can.
Please. Yeah, so you were talking about the other Pat, the one who's part of the BNP, the one who had a bit of a, and so it's like, from what's evident, he's a racist, and Tan was also a racist. But people on that side of the fence, whenever one of their own people is like exposed as a racist, he's suddenly like an agent provocateur, or he's like he's working for the police. But when like a Muslim or somebody's racist, they take it at face value. I mean, the hypocrisy is just. What are your thoughts on this?
This, just to bring it to something else in the park. This comes back to my conversation with Steve. Steve the atheist. He was fundraising for a former attendee of the park who had been attending for several years. You could call him a veteran, and he was a former British soldier. That was part of it. Our poor British soldiers homeless on the streets, and he started doing a fundraiser for him.
He's a rapist, wasn't he?
It turned out he had raped an 87-year-old woman.
Wow.
So I said to Steve, what if a Muslim in the park had done the same thing as you? You would never hear the end of it. Even if you held your hands up and admitted you didn't know, like he did, so on and so forth. But the point is, there is hypocrisy and double standard. And that goes back to the whole thing of when one of these individuals are exposed, their tongue slips and they say the N-word, or in the case of that postman, Pat, he, embarrassed them on national TV. They immediately want to disassociate and disown them. But that only applies for them. If we want to disassociate or disown someone in our ideology or religious belief for their action, and I don't really like disassociating or disowning people, you can't do it. Once someone does some wrongdoing, they will go on about it forever and bang on about it. And it is a double standard, but there's nothing we can do about it other than expose their own.
And that fundraising thing about the rapist, that really went under the radar. And the only people that really confronted Steve about it was on Twitter. But in the park, I heard nothing about it.
I had a discussion with him in the park. It was filmed. And he started ranting at me. But my point was actually to be a bit facetious. It was to deliberately be a bit, because I'm aware that he held his hands up, right? He did. He claims he didn't know that he was a rapist, and we have to take his word at that. But my point is, would he have been so forgiving if a Muslim, and he's got a pathological obsession with Islam, would he be so forgiving, or would he be harping on about it till the end of time? Look at this fundraising for rape, and I think he would. That's my point. I genuinely think he would have gone on about it all day.
What's your thought on just one more question? What's your thought on Steve saying that he identifies as centre left?
Yeah,
but he also joined UKIP.
Well,
so it's a bit of an oxymoron.
Well,
and yeah,
for him, right? Let's because this whole left wing right thing situation, you can still be an Islamophobe if you're left wing. You can still be a racist if you're left wing. you can still be a bit of a bigot if you're left wing. The same on the right and the centre. His primary issue is with Islam, and that's why I call it an obsession. So I think his obsession with Islam trumps all of his other political persuasions, you know, and he probably is being genuine when he says he's centre-left. From talking to him, he's even said to me he's pro-immigration. He just doesn't want Muslim immigration, right? So for someone who is that obsessed with one thing, I think he can reconcile and find a home in UKIP based on that. Yeah,
because there's another person I asked, like, personally, and he's like known on the Speaker's Corner, kind of on the internet side of things nowadays. And I said, "Are you against Muslim immigration?" And he said, "No, I want to like minimize all immigration." But when he's on panels, that's it. It's full anti-Muslim. I'm just like the lies.
Yeah, and you know, at the end of the day, I do think the left and the right in Britain, if they're British nationalists, that is, are united on the topic of racism. They just have a different way to put their views across. I mean, the same with the foreign policy of Britain. The two main parties are united when it comes to foreign policy, and the same in some cases with racism. And that's it. He's found a home. I mean, and also the reality is, I guess from Steve's point of view, he would see the left as being weak on confronting Islam, and therefore he has to find a natural home because he sees it as his number one issue. And that home is with UKIP. It is with the football lads. It is with, you know, all of those unsavoury characters. And Steve is out of place with them. You know, at the end of the day, he's not a football hooligan, is he? I can't imagine Steve fighting on the terraces, but he associates with them because they're united in one goal. And that goal is British nationalism. And British nationalism today has taken the stance of being anti-Islam. There was a time period when British nationalism had the slogan, "Keep England white," in the 1950s. And then it was against the Irish and blacks. We all know the history of it. And today it is Islam.
Yeah. I'm having a look at Steve's Twitter right now, just looking at... He has a big following.
He's got a couple thousand, hasn't he?
He's got 1,483.
It's not, yeah. He's well known, I guess.
For someone who goes to Speaker's Corner, that's quite popular, to be honest. And like he's like I said, he's followed by Bill Warner, Dr. Bill Warner, who's like a really popular anti-Muslim propagandist on the right, and he's American as well. So if he's reaching the States, he has gained like a certain level of prominence.
Did you see on his Twitter page he announced his intention to stand as a UKIP MP?
Who?
Steve the Atheist. He's
really?
Yeah, he's going to try and become a UKIP MP in the next general election.
Let's all vote for him.
Well, he'll be running in London, he said. So
yeah,
it's unlikely he'll succeed. But he was actually saying how he wants to take Mani Sindh out to get the Sikh vote, and they were discussing how they could utilise the Sikh population if they target somewhere like Southall, I guess.
He's going to need a Muslim as well for the Muslim areas. Steve, if you need someone who's Muslim, call me. Apparently, I'm into democracy, and I'm a kafir as well, apparently. So get me on board.
But yeah, the thing is, though, I said to him actually in the park, I said, your Speaker's Corner antics will, you know, come back to bite you in the arse when it comes to running for election. I mean, most of us have probably said things in the park which could be used in a way to completely character assassinate us. But then again, that might well prove popular with the electorate. You know,
true.
We live in a time now where people like the idea of straight talking, what they see as honest politicians. Hence why Donald Trump is so popular and the likes of Boris Johnson, despite them being liars as well. They see their willingness to sort of be politically incorrect as a positive to vote for them. So maybe that will benefit him in his campaign.
Of course not. Sorry, I was just replying to somebody. Yeah, Mas Muslim, you dropped off, or are you still there? I just see you on the panel, but you haven't said anything. You all right?
Assalamu alaikum, brothers.
Alaikum
As-salam.
salam.
Hello.
And blessings be upon the brothers and sisters in humanity. How are you, lot?
All right.
Alhamdulillah. How are you doing?
I'm good. Hey, bro,
Yeah.
I wanted to talk to you, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, listen, you know, the other day, man, you were talking, yeah?
Yeah.
I don't know if it's still like you made a mistake or whatever, or I said it wrong, because obviously I don't know Arabic, you know, Akhi, yeah? You know when I said judge is one of God's name, like Allah's name?
Yeah.
And you said no.
All right. Let's rewind. What was the conversation? What were you saying?
No, I know. No, I don't want to bring that whole thing up, bro, because this conversation is not about that.
So what is it about? What's your question?
Like, you know, when I was explaining, and I was like, I don't want to call like someone this because that's one of God's name. Is it because I said judge and I didn't say the judge, or you said that in total that is not God's name? Remember, Muslim matters.
Yeah, I'd have to hear it again, bruv. I don't remember. Sorry.
I remember this. Shall I explain it?
Yeah, go ahead.
He was JK.
Okay.
Yeah, I wasn't on the panel, but I was on the chat. Mass Muslim wanted to know about kufr bitaghut, and he didn't want to refer to the judge in a court of law in this country,
No,
like
any
a
country.
qadi or any country, as the judge, because this is one of the names of Allah. And I think you corrected him. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So my point to you, what I was trying to make is, if you're in a Muslim country where there's a Muslim judge, right? What's his job title?
No, bro, I'm not talking about.
He's a
you
judge.
See the whole conversation this brother JK bro, I don't want to know about that.
No, I'm just giving the context, the background.
Yeah. So what I was saying, I don't want to say it because obviously it's one of God's names, and then you said no, it's not. So I'm saying.
No, what I said is, what my point was, it's like you were saying that somebody can't be called a judge if their job is a judge.
No, I said I don't want to.
Yeah, but if somebody's a judge, if that's their job,
I know.
Then
but I'm saying
that's what you call them. You call them a judge.
I know, but I said, look, obviously, if you want to share your screen, I will tell you the timing that you can listen to. It's like 1 minute 30 seconds.
Yeah.
I'm explaining, and then I said, I don't want to call that name because it's Allah's. Is one of Allah's name, and you said no, it's not, because judge in Arabic means. You said another word, but I was talking about hakim, like hakim.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's
so,
the rule, mate.
I just wanted to know, because obviously I didn't say the judge, or was it because I said judge?
Okay, is al-hakim a name that can be used on the creation as well as the creator?
I don't know.
Yeah. Look, Akhi, there's certain names that are exclusive to Allah. Some that are only exclusive to Allah if you use the word al before it, which means the. There's some that are not exclusive
That's
to
why
Allah. And there's some which are you can use with al as well.
Like Malik as well, like landlord. That's Malik al-Bayt, right?
And
I know,
Rahim.
Akhi, but I'm saying, like, because obviously the human, we can't call al-Malik, can we?
No, but you can say Malik.
Malik, yeah. All right, then, yeah. That's why I wanted to just make sure, like, I understood.
But you could say al if you say dhahabtu ila al-Malik. I went to the judge. Oh, sorry, the king. I went to the king or the owner. Or I dhahabtu ila al-Hakim.
What, referring to the human?
I went to the judge. Right? The context you're using it, however, if you're saying that somebody is the perfect judge, the ultimate judge, then that only belongs to Allah.
Yeah.
So you say he is al-Hakim. But if you're using the name in the context of I went to the judge in the court, right? You would say ذهبت إلى الحاكم في المحكمة. That's what you'd say.
Yeah. So when
it's no big deal. I was just trying to point out. Yeah. So I get your point. I understand what you're trying to say about respecting Allah's name and not trying to give that attribute to His creation. But in this case, this is something that is not impermissible in this regard. It's actually acceptable.
Yeah. So you won't commit
part of Arabic
if you say it, like,
no, it's not a sin.
You mean it in the correct way.
Yeah, there's certain ways that if you were to say it, it would be haram. Yeah, so certain names, for example, you can't call somebody Ar-Rahman.
No
That only belongs to Allah.
Yeah.
You can't call somebody Allah. That only belongs to Allah, right? But Rahim, for example, Wadud. What else? Yeah, as we said, Malik. Aziz. There's many other names.
Yeah, Jazakallah, man. I just wanted to make sure, but I understood it correctly.
Big up, Muslim. No problem, brother. You done though.
But bro, what you lot talking about?
Cops on the ups. Huh?
This fight thing.
Oh, that's what we were chatting about. Apparently, it was a setup. It was a fake fight. Isn't it, Pat?
Only you are saying that. You're now making out that there's other.
There's consensus in this panel.
You've made the conspiracy.
Nobody corrected me.
I did. I said that there's no chance of that being the case.
I say there is, some probability. It's not 100%.
Yeah, I would say 0%.
And to be honest, at first, I thought, nah, no way, right? I thought, let me just bring it up anyway. But when it was only tonight, I remembered about the camera. That Respect had the camera on him, and he never carries that.
Yeah, but he had the camera on him live because he was going to debate Raj live on YouTube.
Yeah, brother. He had it filming all the way to McDonald's. That battery, you have to conserve battery power. You don't just waste it.
No, it was Mr. Rax's camera, and he's obviously a big time camera.
But Omar is normally carrying Mr. Rax's camera.
That's true, but this time Respect had reserved a slot.
Yeah,
and that was for the purpose of debating Raj.
It's interesting. Without knowing the details and having the participants here, we could argue both ways: a successful defense or otherwise.
Yeah. Are there any other conspiracies that you have about the park or happenings in the park?
Well, I used to think, Steve and his crew were part of the intelligence services of, or some offshoot of the police, and that they got a police operation.
What changed that opinion?
He still believes it.
I don't know. I have to think about it, actually. Yeah, I'd have to think about it. I'm not sure. I really don't know.
So you might still well believe that that's the case?
No, I know that they are some, offline group. I've got no issues with believing that. As for a government-funded operation, I don't know.
So, but there was a time when you actually thought that they were.
Yes, yeah. When 100%. Tan was going there, I thought, yeah, definitely.
Right.
You saw people giving up their time, going there every week, forming a protective force for Tan, and then you had all of those security people turning up.
That's just undercover police, though. They're everywhere in London. Yeah,
that day was quite notable. Even police people with security on their armbands on their arm.
because I've actually heard a conspiracy about that day. Which I guess you'd love, right? So, the idea that how did a bus turn up from nowhere when it's one of the busiest roads in London? There's a bus every 30 seconds. But yeah, I think people like to try and make conspiracies where there shouldn't be one.
Yeah. True.
Was it empty? I don't know. I mean,
I don't know, bro. But yeah, when I went to the park on Sunday, I saw the 390 bus. So it's a regular bus in the area.
Yeah, and it's a Sunday afternoon.
Oh, Academic Screeching, big up. He says Tan had hired security. He admitted it himself.
Okay, well, if that is true, then...
That's not cheap, bro. Yeah. And those guys with the walkie-talkies who came up to Jedi underneath the cafe.
Badge.
Yeah.
But then again, Tan has a reputation, and I don't know much about Tan, but he has a bit of a reputation for trolling himself. I mean, he told Bacon Lady that he employed the person to knock her out outside the masjid.
Who let the dogs out? Yeah.
So he was taking the mick there. So, he was probably, who knows?
Yeah. Interesting. And then we saw when he was turning on Tommy. That
was quite funny. Yeah.
And Rebel Media, the guy was filming him. Oh, he was filming somebody, and then Tan came up and started making noise. And Rebel Media pointed to the police, clicked his fingers, said, "Yeah, arrest him." And they arrested him.
Okay.
Just arrested it. They did exactly what Rebel Media told them to. I'm like, what? How did you do that?
The moment he started... Sorry.
What you say, Must?
I said 10's still here, man. He hasn't left.
He's in the UK, is he?
Is that another conspiracy?
He's on the YouTube, and Tagia Watch is 10.
No.
Oh, so there's some mad conspiracies tonight.
No.
Bro,
But you know the time when Tan really turned on Tommy Robinson is when he was doing a live stream with James Goddard, and he started to criticize him and talk about money, and then James Goddard was all confused, and I'm not sure if Danny Tomo was on this at the same time, and then from that point onwards, everyone just started to drop him like a hot potato.
And Lucy was involved, wasn't she? I don't know why.
I don't understand that woman. What happened to her?
They dropped. They see again. She's another one who, because she had a run-in and disagreements and was probably wronged by them. She was immediately sort of accused of being an Antifa agent. Was accused of working to disrupt. But then Robinson actually did a public apology not too long ago to her, saying he was in the wrong, more or less. And I think that was in relation to footage probably being leaked of him saying some dodgy things.
Because I think that kind of started when Ali Dawah wanted to talk on that. Was it Day of Freedom or something?
Well, yeah.
And she wanted to let him because he was on the register or something, on this schedule.
Yeah, he was on the set schedule. There was a video actually on. Do you know that Sergeant Frisky, Genoa?
Janaya, yeah.
It was on her. Yeah, it was on her live stream. It actually showed you behind the scenes that his name was there to speak for 5 minutes. And I think there's even a video of Robinson saying he was open to the idea prior to the event. Anyway, it was all a mess, clearly in their camp, and she was probably wronged by him. But the point is, immediately the accusations against her was that she was working for Antifa and was an agent provocateur and working for the state. I mean, she actually went more radical, you could say, and had that brief flirtation with Generation Identity. You know, so.
Hey, Hussein in the house again. He says there are agents. Reactionary is a prevent Quilliam agent, for example.
Oh no, he has to jump on now.
Yeah, come on the panel. A whatever your name. What's the name? A Hussein.
Yeah,
he ran away last time. He said that.
I've heard that actually. That's another. There's a lot of conspiracies when you think about it. I've heard that conspiracy about you, reactionary.
Is it?
So I think someone said, you know that guy that works for Quilliam that's called something Dean.
Yeah,
it's
not Mo Dean.
So
Adam Dean.
I heard someone say that was you.
That's me.
Yeah.
Well, okay. It's possible, isn't it? There's always a possibility.
He has been to Speaker's Corner. He debated Anwar.
He has. He got buried by Mohammed Hijab that day. I think he's still buried in Speaker's Corner, to be honest.
Quilliam got invaded by Tommy
he
once.
He got invaded by Tommy once, didn't he?
Yes.
Oh, Tommy. Robinson.
Have you seen
Go.
Have you seen the Australia tour and it's been postponed?
What, the tennis tour?
No. Tommy Robinson was meant to be doing a tour of Australia.
Oh,
and
no, I didn't know.
He hadn't applied for his visa. But the accusations are that he knowingly didn't apply for it and has got no intention of doing it. We'll see anyway, but he's doing a tour of Australia. He's very popular in all of the sort of Anglosphere world.
Yeah. He did get into America once with a fake passport.
Yeah.
With the help of Pam Geller. Yep. Interesting.
He's against immigration. So.
Hey, Hussein, I noticed you haven't come onto the chat. Where's Mas Muslim?
I'm here.
So, I think I asked you this before. You didn't get banned from the park, did you?
No. Why you keep
Is there a reason why you stopped going? Like, because you were a regular there every week, I remember.
Oh, I'm a regular there from time ago. But I stopped going there. I went back. I'm still going there sometimes, man. But you just don't see me.
Yeah. Okay, big up. That's good.
You know that time when Moses punched you?
No, he smacked me.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, he attacked you, and then I'm
not gonna lie, bro.
No. That's not the point. But that same day, Steve said to Ali Dawah, "Oh, no Muslim got attacked," and that became popular because one thing about Steve is that, let's be honest, most of the violence, or a lot of the violence, has been caused by Muslim people, but when it is caused by right-wing people, Steve never called it out. Like on the day Tommy Robinson came to the park, Heiko Hu, the communist guy, he got attacked and his hat got pulled off by those chavs, and Steve or nobody else said anything about it. I've never heard anyone highlight that.
Steve said about it the following. He said,
"I've never
his Heiko's fault for going into a crowd of football fans who are Tommy supporters, and then going up to talk within the vicinity of Tommy Robinson, within his radius."
The thing about Steve, in a way,
that's what Steve said.
It's
like if you go to a football match as an away supporter and go into the home side, stand up in their crowd and start shouting, what's going to happen to you? So that was what Steve was saying.
Bro, these people, they don't even have problem with immigration, bro. All of these problems, they got problems with Muslim and Islam. That's it. Clear cut.
But Steve is an intelligent guy, though.
If you go to Speaker's Corner, no doubt, he might even be a good person. But the hate he's got in his heart, you get me? It's just like... But if you go there and you meet these people and you're there... Because behind the camera... Actually, listen, like... You know when sometimes you see someone in a picture and you think they're big? And then when you see them in the real life, they're like short and not that big, they're small and that, So what you see in the cameras, on the videos from the outsider, you don't see what's really happening. You know what I mean? Because there's so much going around it. Do you get what I mean, bro?
All right. What do you think? Why do you think Steve doesn't like Islam? What's his reason for hating it? Because it seems to be an extreme obsession with it.
I actually asked him this question.
Yeah, he asked me as well. He asked me why I think that of him. So what do you think? What did he say to you?
Well, my specific question to him was, in what way is Islam impacting your life here in Britain? And he only gave me two answers because the second one was so ridiculous that we kind of had a laugh and, I couldn't take it too serious. But the first one was halal meat. He said, halal meat.
It's forced on you.
Yeah, he might not know when he's purchasing it. All the arguments around it anyway. Yeah. And the second one, which you can take it how you will, and it does prove the point about obsession with Islam. He spoke about Muslims parking on double yellow lines outside mosques on Fridays for Friday prayer. And he said because the traffic warden might be a Muslim, he doesn't give a ticket to people making that infraction. So it's hard to take him serious when he comes out with stuff like that. No, that was the genuine reply I got from him.
Yeah, and bro, look, like, what's the first point he said? The halal meat. Anywhere you go, if it's halal, it will say. There's a sign. It's got certificates, so you will know if you get halal meat. Even if you go in Tesco and that, the meats and that, they got logos of halal if they're halal, or there's a little section of halal meat in it. So that's all crap.
Yep.
And about the second regards, let's be honest, bro. This is all around the world. Some people for their nation, for their nation, and that they might do a little hookup, but that's not only going to be Muslims.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
But it's some people in it. But these people, they just got one agenda, bro. If you come and say, this is happening, like everybody does it, it's different than coming saying, double yellow line for prayer. But if this guy has a problem, you pray in a park, in a mosque, in your house. Next thing you know, you have to catch a plane, go to bloody God knows where, bro, to pray and come back.
I did see an interview, though, recently. Or not an interview, but like a discussion Steve was having with these two teenage girls. They were like leftist feminists. And he did say he has a problem with what he referred to as Islamofascism. So there's that as well. And that's on quite a big channel. I don't know. I think it was on Content Over Everything and at the Yellow Vest March.
I saw that. It was in Trafalgar Square at the Yellow Vest thing,
I didn't watch all of it, but I did catch that part.
Bro, I genuinely think there are far more problems, even within the UK, rather than people coming bringing hatred towards like someone's religion or race and that. We can use this time to sort out a lot more other problems than all this basically crap nonsense bullshit, bro. You get me?
But let's be honest with ourselves. Do you think that there is a problem with not Muslims but Muslim extremism in the UK? Is there a trend of it?
Listen,
There's a bigger problem though.
What do you
I'm
mean?
not saying I'm not saying I'm not trying to compare it to anything else. Let's isolate it as a topic. Do you think that is a problem or a growing problem in the UK?
Absolutely.
Because sorry, carry on.
To respond to your question there,
Yeah.
I immediately come to the conclusion of who's facilitating this terrorism, who's facilitating these organizations.
So who would you say, like, from your point of view?
Well, again, not going on fact, and this doesn't obviously account for every single organization, because that would be ridiculous. But we've seen terror trials collapse in recent years in this country in relation to quote-unquote Islamic terrorism on the basis that the security services were either providing some kind of tactical or military support for the very same organization they're trying to put someone in jail for. The most well-known case was that of a Swedish national, I think Berlin Gildo was his name. So
what are your thoughts? Reactionary. Oh, sorry, you can carry on.
No, my point is, people should be focusing on, it's really a bit of a national scandal, isn't it? When it comes down to it, if your security services have been supporting a group that you're trying someone in an English court for joining or assisting, then would that group be able to operate without the assistance of nation-state security services? Probably not, and certainly not on the scale that they do.
So, would you say people like Anjem Choudhury are working with the states?
Well, I deal with fact. There is. I mean, one could come to that conclusion, but if we look at Omar Bakri Mohammed, who was his mentor,
the Lebanese, I think.
and he was Anjem Choudhury's mentor.
Yeah.
Omar Bakri was very candid in an interview once, where he admitted to giving MI5 information in relation to terror plots. So we know that man had a relationship with the security services. Whether you think it's positive or negative, he had a relationship with the security services. So there's examples of the security services, at the minimum, colluding with what people see as extremists.
Yeah, and I think there's been some news that was released not long ago regarding Abu Qatada, and apparently he was working with the government as well. But I'm not sure if that's true, or if that's just speculation. But it's out there now.
If we just go on fact though,
yeah,
and we use British media reports, and we use what comes out in the British media, so it's not our information we're using. Just going on what's come out. I mean, why did Mazen Beg's terror trial collapse a few years ago?
Yeah,
because he was literally, it came out and was proven that MI5 gave him the thumbs up and, in his own words, the green light to travel to Syria. Okay.
You mean Afghanistan? I think.
No, Syria.
Mazen Beg.
Mazen Beg went to Syria. I think it was 2015 or 2014, and when he came back, he was put in jail for a period of time, and the trial against him collapsed because it came out that MI5 said he could go. That he actually gave an interview with Channel 4, saying he was given the green light by MI5 to go to Syria. So the relationship that the British intelligence services, and obviously probably the French and Americans and every other European intelligence service has with these extremists is interesting. I mean, that should be the big question. And the Manchester bomber as well. Really, that should have been a huge scandal in Britain. Maybe probably one of the biggest scandals ever in relation to the Home Secretary, Theresa May, in 2011, and then Prime Minister, and her relationship with Libyan Islamic Fighting Group and facilitating them. So it just seems to go under the radar, though.
It kind of makes sense if that is true to a point. If you have all sorts of potential problem groups in your society, then how can you prevent their harm? By taking ownership of them, I suppose. By becoming part of them.
And there's examples of that in history. I mean, again, it's not a simplistic relationship. So this is the problem. I mean, it's not like every single person who is a quote-unquote extremist is working for the security services. Are certain leaders and certain individuals co-opted to work for the security service under the guise of blackmail or monetary gain? Yeah, of course they are. We'd all be stupid to think they're not. And we have examples of it that have come out in the press. Hence, terror trials literally collapsing. But nobody seems to care. I mean, just on that basis, the actual group that the terror trial collapsing in was an Al Qaeda affiliate group, according to the trial. Now, you'd think your average British person would be up in arms that their security services were supporting that and was providing material support to them, but just went under the radar. There's quite a lot of examples of this. I think they have a hot, cold, on-off relationship with these forces, and they use them. They essentially mold them so they can use them for their own ends.
Yeah, and you can allow them to do certain things and prevent the harm of it taking effect. I don't know. Yeah. Without being involved, I've got no way of knowing, really, but just speculate. He was in big trouble, but I don't think he was working for the MI5 since Kilowatts.
No, I didn't say he was working for him, but the point was he was put on trial when he came back from Syria. And the reason his trial collapsed and he was released from prison was because he proved that MI5 said he could go to Syria. The basis of his trial was that he was assisting quote-unquote terrorism in Syria. And when he returned, went to prison. But because obviously these agencies are not all working together. You know, they've all got their own agendas and own ends. So the counter-terrorism police, while they have a close relationship with MI5, may not be privy to the fact that MI5 said he could go. And then the trial collapses. He gave it. If you look at the Channel 4 interview he did, he was very open about speaking about how MI5 literally said he could go to Syria. He had a meeting with them.
Can I ask another question, please?
Yeah, go ahead. Of course.
So your stance is pretty much anti-British, right?
No, I wouldn't. No, because that implies like I'm anti-British people.
No, okay. Anti-British establishment, right?
Anti-British state and structures, yeah.
Okay, so my question is, if you were to change one thing about this country, what would it be? Like, what's at the top of the list?
Well, I think from a rational point of view and something that could actually happen, I would support the breakup of the so-called UK. So I think the independence movement in Scotland, the reunification of Ireland and subsequent breakup of the UK would lessen and weaken British imperialism. So from a realistic point of view and something that could happen in the future because of the ramifications in Brexit, particularly towards Ireland, I don't think for Scotland, I would see that as a positive and would be something I would hope could be attained.
But if that were to happen, hypothetically, that would be to the detriment of the British public, even though you're targeting the establishment.
No, not necessarily. I mean, the breakup of the UK. I mean, in what way would it be to the detriment of the British public? I mean, if you are an ardent unionist, and you know, it might be detrimental to your emotions. Will it be detrimental to your pocket? Will it be detrimental to your standard of living if Ireland gets reunification, or if Scotland breaks away from the so-called UK? Possibly. I mean, if you make the argument that England is reliant on Scottish oil, which it isn't, but some would make that argument, and you know, I think England's economy can cope on its own. I don't think it would reduce the standard of living. I mean, if Britain was to pull out of African nations in relation to their domination of economies, it would have an impact on your average British person's standard of living. And quite frankly, I couldn't care less because I believe that morally wrong to be subverting another nation's sovereignty for your own economic gain.
The reason I'm asking this question is because, like, a lot of people talk like about you and about your ideas, and so I'd rather ask you straightforward.
Yeah.
Because like I've never spoken to you before, and I've seen you on Manny's channel and Raspik's channel, so I thought I'd just take this opportunity to get your idea on this situation.
Yeah. Well, as I said, I think that's the most rational outlook, and it's something that could happen in the future with the ramifications of Brexit, and it'd be something I would support, and I think there's a sizable population that would support it too. A recent poll was done in Ireland, and should a hard border be imposed in Ireland, 82% said that they would want the reunification of Ireland. So, and that's through peaceful means, by the way. It's not through any kind of violence. It would be through democratic process in their minds. So, Yeah, I would support the breakup of the so-called UK. As for Scotland, it's probably not going to happen. I think the Scottish movement is built on sand and really is an integral part of Britain. So the likelihood of Scotland breaking away, and that would probably have more ramifications for your average person in Britain than Ireland would have on their lives.
You know when Britain first entered Ireland? Do you know when that was?
About 860 odd years ago, 70 years ago. Well, England. It was England then. Yeah.
England. And the presence that we have today, it lasted since that time.
So, yeah, I mean, it's not specifically in the part of Ireland today is part of Britain. But from the English colonisation of Ireland was mainly focused on putting restrictions on Irish trade. So if we go back to the Tudor times and just before, obviously stuff like wool and forestry was literally the industry there was destroyed because it meant that English industry could flourish. And essentially nothing unique there. I mean, that happened everywhere in the world. Then what you had in Ireland was plantations, whereby they sought to send English people to Ireland to specific areas and set up literally like mini colonies where they would remove the native from, and a lot of them failed. The one that succeeded, obviously, was the one in the north of Ireland, and the plantation of Ulster. That was the successful plantation, but there was many attempts at doing it in other parts of the country prior to that.
Yeah, I get it. Okay. And so it was really for the purposes of, I guess, revenue.
Well, money. Initially, if we go back that far, in the time of the height of the British Empire, it acted as a laboratory, essentially, a training ground. Much of the tactics that were exported to other parts of the world were first developed there, such as the colonial police, and further on, the same tactics used in the 1920s were later used in Palestine in the 1930s, with the very same force, the Black and Tans. And even in the modern sense, in how to deal with urban guerrilla warfare throughout the 70s and 80s, it was a focal point of understanding and exporting the tactics learned. There was a guy called Frank Kitson, who was a British Army guy, and he wrote a book called Low Intensity Operations, and it's essentially the handbook on how to deal with a rebellious population in what would be called the developed world, I guess, and the methods and tactics used. And those methods and tactics were adopted by various other governments around the world in dealing with rebellious or what they would see as subverted forces within their country or nation state.
Yeah, I was thinking I thought that the reason the UK was there prior to that was, before asking you, my assumption was because it's a country so close to the mainland Britain that it would be a real threat if you didn't have some sort of
well, it's the same as
presence
everywhere else
there
in the world.
Yeah,
literally.
But then I thought you don't have a presence in France, but you've got the Channel Islands, perhaps. So
True.
You have to try and control the threat that you might have.
Exactly.
On your borders. Yeah, interesting. Yeah, Mask Muslim, you still there, bro?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay. So Sia Live in the house. Big up Sia Live. You can jump on as well. Sir Macintosh as well.
Sia Live. Is she in the chat?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Who else is there?
Mr. Abdi, man. I want Abdi to join.
Mr. Abdi. Jump
Have
on,
you
bro.
spoken to him?
Once. Yeah.
He seems to be a very controversial figure in amongst some people.
Really?
Certain people, yeah.
I've only ever seen him go live once, and we went on together.
Oh, is that on his channel?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I've seen that one.
Issa from Pony. Who else is there? Yo, Reactionary, what's the subject? Let's see alive. No particular subject yet, see alive. Well, we talked about a few things. We talked about people at the park. And what happened on the weekend, on Sunday, at McDonald's. and whether or not it was a staged event.
Pat, what happened to you on Sunday? I heard you got into a few rounds.
Who told you
What,
that?
at the pub?
No,
I'm joking.
man, not those kind of rounds.
Who told you that though? Because I don't...
No, not a few. I exaggerated.
Yeah.
I heard you got into a bit of a scuffle with someone.
Who told you that though?
Nobody told me. I saw Raj say it on a live stream.
Raj did it. All right. No, nothing really. I think Marsh Muslim was there. The guy just ran off. There wasn't anything more to it than that.
Oh, Pat, is that you?
Yeah, that's me. Yeah.
What's going on, brother? How are you?
I'm not bad. Yourself?
I'm good, man. Hey, what happened when we left? You stayed with that English guy, yeah?
Yeah. And
what did he say? Did he have something nice to say or not?
No. It was the same carry on from
what
God. And you spent hours on him. You spent hours on that guy.
But that guy was funny. You and Grey Dunya, man.
Yeah. I don't think we'll see him returning to the park anyway. The other guys anytime soon. Some weird stuff.
Was Grey Dunya at the park on Sunday?
Yeah, he was there.
Okay.
He's a funny guy. That's his laugh, by the way, just in case people don't know.
Yeah, it's not scratchy.
Think we're like retarded or something.
Yeah, interesting. All sorts of discussions happening in the chat.
Reactionary. Have you heard? You're right, bro. Yeah. What's so funny?
No, nothing.
Oh, yeah. So, have you heard the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, that on the day of judgment, that the sins of the Muslims, which are still left, will get put onto the Jews and the Christians?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
I've heard it mentioned. I'm not sure about it though. Yeah. Okay. Have you?
Yeah, I've heard it, but I was wondering if anybody had any more knowledge on the matter. Or
why are you asking?
Why is it when I speak, it's like, why are you asking? But everybody else has been talking.
No, you just brought a random hadith out of thin air, unrelated to what we're talking about. Just wondered why you're asking it. So.
I thought I'd switch it up a bit, man.
Huh?
I thought I'd switch it up a bit.
Oh, okay.
Is there a problem?
No. Rusa Farah. What kind of name is that? Rusa. I thought my name's bad. All right. Isa, I wouldn't dare question your intentions, bro. I just noticed few people saying your similar things about you on different chats. So I was just wondering if you noticed yourself maybe changing recently. So it seems like a lot of people are going in on Isa.
Oh, sorry, that girl just joined, right? That Canadian girl, yeah.
Canadian?
Who? Rusa Faga.
You mean Dutch?
No, this jihadi.
Assalamu alaikum, guys. Assalamu alaikum, panel.
Alaikum salam.
Alaikum salam. See you live. How you doing?
Good. Yes. How are you guys?
All right, man. And why did you ask me if I wear Western clothes or
it just stood out to me.
Where's he wearing Western clothes?
That's what I'm trying to figure out.
Oh, from earlier.
Wasn't it you who was on the camera though? I saw like Western clothing.
Are you talking about on this channel right now?
The other day, I don't know which channel that was, but I thought that I saw you with Western clothing.
I was wearing
I might be wrong though.
No, I saw it. It was on Muslim Matters. You're walking in uni or something.
Yeah. I was wearing a coat.
All right, blue coat.
No, it was a grey coat.
All right. Okay.
But I'm not from Canada though. I'm from Holland.
All right, cool. But anyway, what's the reason for asking such a question?
Because I was curious, man.
Sia.
What?
I ask random questions.
Sia, are you 6'10"?
Cool.
Perhaps, maybe I am. Why?
Because
it's a random question.
Yeah.
There's this girl in my university, and she did like a year abroad in Holland, and she's like 4'10", and she said everyone there is really tall. So I thought,
but those are the Dutch. I'm Moroccan.
Yeah. Sorry.
Usually, the Moroccan women tend to be shorter than that.
I've heard
Why
that like the women are 5'10" or something, average. Isn't that true?
Why is
Wow,
your name
that's
Jihadi?
very tall.
Why is your name Jihadi? I don't get it.
Jihadi Jane, I love the name. Raj gave it to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we've got
But
two
somehow,
potential Raj agents here. We got Sia and we got JK.
No.
JK, you've been accused
oh,
of
is
being.
that JK?
Yeah.
Oh, is that
Yeah,
JK?
yeah.
Oh, really? You're so nice on panel.
I'm always nice.
You're so different on panel.
I'm always nice. I'm nice to everyone. Well, most people.
Maybe I misinterpret your wording in the chats. I don't know. Sometimes you come across a little bit, I don't know. But on panel, you're nice. So that's a good exchange.
Reactionary, why don't you get up that narration about the Jews and the Christians, bro?
Okay, find it for me and I'll put it up.
All right, one sec.
And tell us why you're mentioning it, okay?
All right, but it will be easier for me to explain that once we get explanation.
Okay. Right.
We also have a Pat here, so like we want to like include everybody in the discussion. We don't want to isolate somebody.
Yeah, because the whole flipping just stuff about Speaker's Corner and liberalism, I don't know what you guys. It's just getting.
You felt isolated, Abu
it's not
Mujahid,
really.
and now you want to get revenge.
You can teach us
man.
Pashto.
Is that Abu Mujahid?
Yeah, that's me. What's up? I'm the one who just asked if I wear Western clothing.
Oh, okay. Now I know why the vibe is coming off like that. Okay.
What do you mean?
No, we never had like a nice footing with each other. So
What? Why? I've never spoken to you in my life.
Right.
Sia.
That's what you say.
Sia, what
You probably
happened
mean
on
in the
Raspberry's
side
panel
chat.
yesterday?
In the side chat.
Listen,
In the back chats. Yeah, I thought that he was like with a bunch of people doing nonsense, but I don't know.
No, do you know what it is? Somebody came up to me once here and said that there's a guy who's imitating your name on Hangouts back chats, and he's like doing all sorts of and making you look like some kind of just whatever.
The one in Abbott chat a long time ago, right? When you were saying to Abbott, don't listen to Sia is this, Sia is that. Was that you or was that the guy imitating you?
Yeah, that was the guy imitating me.
Oh, okay, I see.
I've never spoke about you, to you, anything. So.
Yo, assalamu alaikum, everyone. I came on to back my brother Oz up, Sia. Brother Omar, sorry.
Oh,
Oz,
I was like, oh.
What the hell, man? My younger brother.
Said explained because I don't know.
You're gonna love to hear this, Sia. You know, Fitna Queen, yeah. She basically got an account exactly as Omar's name for pictures and everything, and been spreading all your fake pictures that she made up, and under his name, Abu Mujahid's as Sunni's name.
Oh,
so,
I see.
Okay,
I apologize.
so that wasn't him.
Yeah. Okay, because for the longest time I thought it was him.
No, she done it very good. She tricked me once, and then she came out with it, and I said, "Oh my god, that's you, isn't it?" I go, that doesn't suit his character, the way he's doing things.
Yeah, trust me.
Okay.
So, Omar, that's not Omar, 100%. You know what I mean?
Cool.
Sia.
Yes.
What happened on the Raspex panel the other day, or was it yesterday? I saw you jump on, and it was a bit crazy.
Every time I jump on there, it's crazy. They never let me talk.
Oh, you have been on there before?
Crimes of Britain, you've gone.
A long time ago, though. Long time.
In a galaxy far away.
Yeah, and then yesterday he put up the link, and I just jumped on because I heard some accusations and I wanted to talk about it, but the people left.
All right, okay. I was watching that live, and it was like a miracle.
Yeah.
The same panel.
It's funny, isn't it?
How many fake accounts in my name? Subhanallah, man.
Wa alaikum salam. I think that's Lady in the Veil who said salam alaikum, I think.
Yeah.
Alaikum salam.
Every day.
All right, Miss Saeed time or whatever.
I just wanted to address, I think, the brother Abu Mujahid.
Yeah, what's up?
Yeah. I was listening to, I think it was Academic Screeching, and he put up a video that was recorded where you and Reactionary were actually discussing me.
Okay.
So I think this would be a really occasion for me to sort of jump on and just clarify a few things.
All right.
Yeah. Is that okay, reactionary?
Yeah, go ahead, sister. Welcome.
Okay, so Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. First of all, I just wanted to address the issue that a lot of Muslim brothers keep on bringing up, which is free mixing, and that I come out after dark, which is supposed to be forbidden. Now, I've asked brothers numerous times to bring me the dalil, a hadith or a Quranic ayah that says after dark women need to be in. Nobody has provided me with that. One person has given me the dalil saying that the ayah of waqaru for buyutukum, that was for the Prophet's wives.
All right, sister. Do you know this this notion? Yeah.
Hold on, bro. Did you just mute her?
No, I didn't.
Oh, what happened?
Sister,
did you finish what you're saying?
No, I haven't.
Oh, go ahead.
All right. So that was the response to the fact that I should not be out after dark.
Wait, let me just get a pen, yeah?
Okay. There's no dalil that says a Muslim woman cannot be out after dark. Okay. That's number one. Number two, we live in the UK. We don't live in the Middle East. And Maghrib is at 4:00. Okay. So women work. Women have to pick up their children from school. Women have to go shopping and do numerous things on their own. So unfortunately, they are outside at dark at times. Not every single sister has a mahram, nor is it obligatory for her to go out with a mahram. But it would be good if she had a mahram, alhamdulillah, to escort her backwards and forwards. But unfortunately, revert sisters don't have mahram a lot of the time.
Isn't it special circumstances? Like, for example, if you have to, then you're okay. No. I'm just asking questions, by the way. I'm not really...
Not that I know of. I mean, I'm a student of knowledge. I'm not a alima. I'm not a sheikh. But I've been in my religion for over 25 years, alhamdulillah. And I've never come across an ayah or a hadith that says women at nightfall after Maghrib must be indoors. Okay. Number two, free mixing. Now, free mixing is when you are mixing with the opposite sex on a social gathering, socializing. So I don't socialize with any men outside of my maharim. When I come to Speaker's Corner, I come to Speaker's Corner for a haja, for a reason. I come there to break barriers, to educate people, and sometimes to give dawah. I'm not a da'iyah. I'm a da'iyah in my own community, but not for the outside world. I choose not to because I myself do not like to engage in conversations with people that are going to abuse Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So I have decided and chosen not to engage in that type of dawah in Speaker's Corner. However, if anybody asks me or wants to know why I wear the veil or why I chose Islam or why I practice Islam, I have no problem in doing that. Again, that's my choice. So I take great offense to people, brothers mainly, which is really unfortunate and really sad, that come out and say that the sister is out in the night free mixing. Now, alhamdulillah, it's going to get lighter, and at 7, 8, 9 it's going to be light. Hence why I decided not to go back to the park. Not because I was bullied or not because I really care about random people and their opinion, but when I ran a check on it and I thought about it, I thought to myself, you know what? It's better for me not to go, especially there was a lot of fights kicking off as recently. I decided for myself that I'm not going to go to the park regularly while it's dark and cold. But when I feel like it and I feel like, you know, I'd like to go to the park, inshallah, and see what's happening and maybe engage, I will do so. And like I said, I do take offense when brothers who are supposed to be my brothers in the deen, who I love for the sake of Allah, come out and they attack me and the other sisters who come out there that want to do dawah or just want to learn. And I'm going to wrap up with, in the most part, the majority of the time, whatever is haram for a man is haram for a woman. So if it's not allowed for me as a sister to go and speak to brothers or non-Muslims about history or about science or about Islam, then it's the same for brothers. This notion that it's okay for brothers to go around London or England and stand face to face, eye to eye with women that don't wear the hijab, that are scantily dressed, that's okay. That's not from Islam. At the end of the day, I wear the niqab, but when I'm talking to a man, he's listening to what I've got to say.
I was going to say that.
He's not looking at what I'm wearing. And I can't speak for other sisters. If other sisters go there and they decide to free mix or whatever, it's exactly the same as the brothers. But nobody, I am going to wrap up, I'm sorry. Nobody is attacking or criticizing the brothers that come there with their qaza hairstyles, with their tight trousers, with, free mixing with sisters. I've yet to see the majority of brothers go with gays.
Sister,
Sorry?
Was that hairstyle one at me, yeah?
No. I'm just saying.
I'm not joking. It's okay.
Attack anyone. What I'm saying is, there's this theme that brothers are so eager to criticize and attack the sisters,
100%.
yet are silent. I've seen brothers with beards, nearly 2 hands, smoking. I've seen brothers with beards bunning. I've seen brothers giving dabble during the day and at night smoking, drinking, dancing, and I've yet to go on the chats, and I've yet to go on the comments and see brothers calling out the brothers. Sisters are not even doing that, but they're getting such a hard time. And I just think it's really sad, and it's reinforcing the stereotype that Muslim men oppress, suppress, and objectify Muslim women. Because if I hear one more brother say to me, "Sister, go home," it's really going to be bad.
That's a bit wrong. Sister, go.
Who said that? The brother to respond, and inshallah, it's more a statement than a question. But I know.
Sister, sorry, can you just summarize the points? How many points did you make, or questions did you have?
Well, they're not really questions. They're just statements. But I just want him or any brother to bring me dalil that says that a woman after Maghrib needs to be in her house. Okay, and define what free mixing is.
Academic Screecher is going to be all over this video now. He's going to be taking this.
That's okay.
I know
it's public anyway. It's not a problem.
I know.
As long as I'm not mispresented, I don't care.
Abu Mujahid.
Yeah. So, sister. Okay. Number one. I hope that whatever you heard or watched, that I didn't come across that I was attacking you in any way, shape, or form, because that was never my intention. And from what I do remember of what I said, I did make it quite clear that I was quite impressed for the most part of what you were doing. Okay. However, that being said, the first point you brought, which I thought was the most important, was that you brought up the ayah where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala orders the wives of the Prophet to stay in their houses. Okay. And you were very quick to dismiss that this doesn't apply to the Muslim women in general. Okay. Now, however, if something is given as advice and nasiha or as a commandment to the Sahaba or to the Sahabiyat, is that something which a Muslim takes as advice, or is it something which we dismiss and apply only to them?
Now, certain things are applicable just to the Prophet's wives, and some things are applicable to all of us, i.e. hijab and so on. But from my understanding, I might be wrong, but from my understanding, that was specifically for them because they were the Prophet's wives, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala didn't want them to be, people to be perving on them or mistreating them because they were the Prophet's wives, so they were restricted more than the normal woman. I mean, if you look at Aisha radiallahu anha, Al-Khansa, Nusayba, Asiya, these women were out. Khadija radiallahu anha, these women were out and they were active. Amen. They were active members of society. They were working. They were da'iyat. Aisha was the biggest hadith narrator.
I think the best thing is we need to look at it from a fiqh point of view and get, rather than making telling sisters can't do that. Sorry.
When, for example, Aisha, when she rolled out to fight Ali radiallahu anha, okay, radiallahu anhu, if you look and read all the books and all the historians, the main objective and the main talk about what happened was whether she went out, or she was correct or not. None of the historians, none of the shiuch said, why is Aisha radiallahu anha, a woman, marching out at the head of an army to fight Ali? Why? Because if it was haram and if it was forbidden for her to be out or forbidden for her to take such a role, it would have been in all of the books. Okay, so from this we learn that women are allowed to be members of society. They are allowed to be active, but they have rules and regulations to abide by. And I believe that I'm abiding by them. I don't like no men touch me. I try to keep my space. If the conversation becomes inappropriate or there's foul language, I remove myself. I'm a woman in my 40s. I'm not a little girl. All right. Maybe younger sisters might not be able to control themselves, or they might not be able to remove themselves from these kind of situations. I don't fall into that, and that's the same for young men.
Are you done, sister? It's muted. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, everything needs to be done with hikmah. Like that is a bit rude. If someone said that to you like that in the park, go home. And I don't agree with it like that in a harsh way. That's a bit embarrassing. And plus, you're a grown woman as well. And we need to look at this Islamically. I don't have.
Abu Muhammad said, I mean, Jazakallah khair, he said a lot of nice things about me, but he opened it up with, I would not see the sister as a role model. And I found that very hurtful and offensive because I've dedicated 25 years of my life giving dawah. Okay, and I've worn my niqab and I've worn it with pride, and I have suffered many afflictions because of my niqab, you know, where a lot of men that came from my community, because of the Islamophobia, have taken off their beards, have taken off the fold, have taken off the sunnah, and I've remained, alhamdulillah, fi sabilillah, steadfast. So when I hear brothers come on panels or in the comments and try to, you know, bring down my Islam or try to question my Islam or say that I am not a role model for the Muslim woman, I find it very offensive.
If he said it like that, brother Umar, I think he made a mistake. Then, like in that type of wording, I think he just poor choice of words.
Like I said, that the first thing I replied to the sister once she came on was that, look, I'm sorry for anything I said.
But she's a mother, bro. You know.
Yeah, anything I said which came across
if that was my mom, and I heard someone saying she's a poor role model, that would burn me, bro. Like hurt me, and especially.
I didn't say that she's a poor role model.
Words if you said it like that. But anyway, go on, bro.
Yeah, so bro, so the first thing I did was obviously apologize if I said anything. Number one, unjust, because injustice is the main opposition thing to Islam, okay? And number two, if it's just generally offensive, hurtful to a Muslim, okay, that's not good either. So obviously I want to apologize for that if that happened. However, me saying that she's not a role model, well, I can't help but just for now stick by that until I feel as if that what you're doing or what you continue to do is going to be in absolute accordance with the deen. Because for us to take somebody as a role model, it has to be established that this person, what they're doing, is never going to be to the detriment or to any kind of principle in Islam in opposition to that. Okay, and I do feel as if there's errors. I mean, I'm sure if you watch the video, and you was upset of it, whatever, but there are issues with what's been happening, and a lot of the time it's not your fault. But that's why, for a woman to be out and be active in society, like you mentioned, that some of the Sahabiyat were, it has to be in a particular environment, in a particular place where it's going to be totally acceptable. There's no fitna. There's no way for people to misperceive what's going on. Okay, and you do your absolute best in that, which is why I said I respect and appreciate what you do. However, to take you for if I was to now see a load of other niqabi sisters coming in the park doing what you're doing, okay, there's one circle there with a niqab sister with men around her, and she's doing her thing and she's avoiding any kind of distracting conversation. This wouldn't be something which is recommended for the women to do because it's not an absolute necessity. It's not something which is going to directly and effectively change views on Muslim women. Personally, it's if you're going to bring examples of Khadija, Aisha, anhu, Huma, then it's going to have to be in absolute context where we bring each and break down each scenario, because we know from the Quran that the default position for them is to stay in their homes, okay? And that's something that is taken as an advice for each and every Muslim woman because it's in the Quran, okay? If we find an advice to the Sahaba, to the women of the time of the Prophet, we take that as general advice, okay? And then we break down later whether it's an obligation. Yes, because certain things, certain restrictions, regulations do only apply to them. However, the general is not that. The general is that what they are told to do, we are told to do. And if a woman is to leave the house, then I don't agree with the notion that the woman should never leave the house, okay? Because it's quite clear that there are circumstances where she has to, and even in certain circumstances, if she wants to go see her family, she's not restricted in Islam to not go see her family and go relax in their house, whatever, you know. Even if the mahram doesn't take her, you know, if he's allowed it and there's no fitna, she should go. But going to Speaker's Corner, like you said, and we know what goes on there. We know the types of people that go there. We know there's cameras everywhere. We know there's people editing, okay? There's people who are screenshotting certain situations, then going home and changing what's going on just by means of a camera. and by their agendas, whatever. This stuff is something which a Muslim woman is more vulnerable to than a Muslim man. Okay, every single Muslim man who's there with beard, smoking, and that. Okay, that is something which is bad. But in terms of exposing them each, what's the need? Okay, I mean, I don't see what was your point about saying people need to go home and make videos about men smoking. Okay, all I care about is what's being perceived on the camera and what's going to be used by the Islamophobes and by the hate preachers, yeah, to use against us. Because a video in a Muslim smoking is something which people are seeing on a daily basis. It's not going to be an ideological attack on us. However, a Muslim woman in a park addressing certain issues and the fitna is going on, I can see this leading to something, especially after nightfall. Things can happen, and I know it will happen, and it's already started to happen because he started getting surrounded by men. This white guy was coming up, just interrupting the conversation, asking about. I mean, wallahi, sister. At one point, I saw the conversation going down a sexual, fanatical route, like, and you was engaging in it because you felt you had to refute him, but it's not appropriate. You just had to get away because it's a sexual conversation, regardless of whether what you're saying is the haq. The haq does not mean something that is just true. The haq is something which has purpose, okay? It's something which is going to achieve benefit, okay? Me just saying right now anything which is factual is not necessarily the haq because it has to have benefit and it has to be true in its context. So everything we do, it has to have wisdom, and whatever the Prophet's wives and the Sahaba advised to do, we are generally, the Islamic principle is that we follow it and we don't just say it's for them, okay? There are certain restrictions which apply only to them. However, we do take them as role models and we follow them in most cases. And obviously, there are exceptions to that, and they need to be laid out clearly when discussed, of course. But
Okay, yeah, I hear you. But at the end of the day, we have something in Islam called fiqh al-waqi', yeah, and that's the fiqh of the times. We are not living in the Middle East. We are living in 2019, and we do live in England. And so, although you may feel that what I'm doing is not reaching people and it has no effect, I beg to differ. You know, it is going out to people and it's showing that Muslim women do have a voice and it is breaking barriers and it is changing opinions. And that man that you were talking to, at the end of the conversation, he turned around to me and he said to me, do you know what? I'm going to be completely honest with you. He said, I would love if I had a wife or a daughter to dress like you. He said, I know a lot of men would not say this, yeah, out loud. He said, but I would love my wife or my daughter to be religious and covered from head to toe. Whether he was, only Allah knows his hearts, whether he was lying or just saying that, this is what he said to me before he left. Okay, so sometimes you have to go through the rough to get to the site, to the nice bits and to the nice conversations. And like I said, I'm a big woman, I'm a grown woman, and if somebody tries to be inappropriate with me, number one, I've fully confidently tell them, you know what, stop, okay, or I will walk away. If I feel like the conversation's going left and they're not going to listen to me, then I will leave. Like my very, very first video was with one of the brothers that were involved, one of the black brothers, and we were having a conversation about racism, and he started swearing, and I asked him not to swear. And after, when he refused to stop swearing, I refused to talk to him, and I haven't spoken to him since. Okay, so I do demand a certain amount of respect, and if people don't like it and they want to swear or have inappropriate conversations, I remove myself. So for you to say that women are it's almost like you think that we need to be wrapped up in cotton wool. Women are very strong and we have a very, very powerful voice and a very, very powerful position within Islam. Khadija, if it wasn't for Khadija radiallahu anha, the Ummah wouldn't have grown as fast as it grew. And she had to be a very strong woman to support the Prophet ﷺ in all the afflictions that he went through. So, the West paint us as these weak women that hide behind the man, but we're not. We're very strong, and I think that the more we have a voice, the better. And by brothers, trying to suppress us and telling us to stay at home and not to come out or not to speak up, I think it just reinforces the stereotype.
Sister, the women need to have a voice, but the women need to have a voice in their own circles. They need to be helping.
How are people gonna hear my voice if I do it amongst sisters?
Yeah.
You're not making any sense, brother, to be quite honest.
I am. Okay, look, you just have to give me a chance because the sisters, first and foremost, they have to focus on each other. Okay, how often are there sisters who are coming to the park trying to give da'wah to the non-Muslim men, actually having circles of knowledge with each other where they're doing their own, where they're helping each other out? That's the number one priority. Okay. And if that's not what you're doing, if you don't have a voice in them circles, which I'm not saying you do because you seem like one of the odd few who do, which is why
Brother, I've been giving doros and study circles for over 25 years within my
Alhamdulillah.
community. I've done that. So, but I do feel that we have an obligation to come out. Like I said, you're not a niqabi. You do not face what I face. You don't face what the sisters
Sister, a
face.
niqabi is just the default position for a Muslim sister. I don't
Right.
take that as something that a niqabi, like this is something obligated.
What I'm saying is you don't know what we go through. So at the end of the day, I've took it upon myself. I'm not saying that, you know, hundreds of sisters, niqabi, should come running into Speaker's Corner and just, you know, take over Speaker's Corner. Not that it would be a problem if they did come, but what I'm saying is I've took it upon myself as a woman in her 40s that's confident enough to come to Speaker's Corner and speak up for the Muslim women, not just the niqabis, for the Muslim women, and have a voice and let people understand that at the end of the day, we are not forced to wear niqab or hijab. We choose to wear it. We do have a mind, we do have an intellect, and we can come out and sit and learn. So a lot of the times I don't even speak, I listen and I learn a lot of things. And in Islam, I'm allowed to do that. I am permitted. And this notion that the Muslim woman needs to just shut up and stay at home and stay inside her house and just go to do the school run and come home, pop into Tesco's, this is not the narrative. This is not the Sunnah. This is not the Quran. And yes, I get that Speaker's Corner is not the best place for every single woman, but it's also not the worst place. Do you understand? And it's a very unique place. And it's a place that, you know, I think some women should go. And I just feel like brothers breaking us down, shooting us down, insulting us is not the way forward. You know.
Sister, can I quickly ask you something? I'm asking to learn this as well. Can sister give dawah to non like men, like opposite gender? Can they? What's the opinion on that?
Yeah, as far as I know, like, the setting in Speaker's Corner for a woman is
I'm not talking about the setting. I'm just
there's
talking
no
about
doubt that
why is it different? You haven't brought me any dalil. Why?
No,
is it...
I don't know. That's what I'm asking.
I'm not asking. Sorry, Saeed. I'm talking to the Babu Mujahid, and I'll respond to you.
Okay.
What I'm saying is, why is it different for the man and the woman? Show me the dalil. Where does it say that the environment of Speaker's Corner is halal for the man and haram for the woman? Okay, because if it's about intoxicants, then the brothers shouldn't be around intoxicants. If it's about fitna of the women mixing up, the brothers shouldn't be mixing up with women. If it's about not, you know, seeing women with no hijab or whatnot, or women seeing men, it's exactly the same. I'm asking sincerely, what is the difference? Yeah, and in response to Saeed, as far as I'm concerned, I think that it's better for a sister to give a woman da'wah and a man to give a man da'wah. However, if I'm at Speaker's Corner, I don't go out of my way to give men da'wah. I don't think that's the best way forward. However, if a man was to ask me respectfully to tell him what the foundations of Islam is, the 5 pillars of Islam or whatnot, I don't think I would be doing a haram. If I went out of my way just to be giving men da'wah, or for brothers just to give women da'wah, I think you're falling into a doubtful matter.
So the issue is that Speaker's Corner is a place where there's no exact syllabus as to where the conversation is going to go. Okay, it's not a debate style conversation where one person's sitting here, one person's sitting here. We have a moderator. The questions are only going to be a certain amount of minutes. Okay, we're having men jumping into the circle, and a perfect example was that person. Okay, and just throwing things at you wherever, and you cannot do anything to stop it. Okay, and sometimes you're being dragged into it. Okay, and the conversation actually went down, as I alluded to before, a situation where you're literally addressing the guy in terms of what you're wearing at home. Like, oh, when I'm at home, I'm wearing this, or I'm wearing it, and like he's looking at you, and you're talking about what you're wearing at home, and you're just gonna make like this stuff is not appropriate, sister. Like,
yeah, but do you not think that at the end of the day, I showed him, because he really thought that we walked around with niqab and hijab all the time, and that I wear it in front of women and I wear it at home. Okay, so I didn't say to him I was wearing X, Y, and Z. What I said to him is,
you
when
said
I'm
leggings, and you saying I'm wearing leggings. Like, come on, sister.
I
Like,
mean,
it's
appropriate speech. Yeah, look, I didn't go into inappropriate dress code. But what as far as I'm concerned, when I'm speaking as a woman in my 40s, yeah? And maybe people don't know that, and they might interpret it as a young sister or young woman speaking to a young man. As far as I was concerned, I'm older than that man. Okay, so when he was speaking, as I was speaking in a way where I'm speaking to a younger man, and I'm explaining to him that Muslim women do not dress like this all the time. So I was doing it more on an informative way. So if I thought that he was being more inappropriate, if he was going to go down the side of being more inappropriate, I was going to check him, or I was going to turn my face away, which is what I did at the beginning when he came. He was being stupid. I was like, you know what, you're being silly. I'm not going to talk to you. And the brothers addressed him. Now I 100% believe that my brothers that are there in the park would defend me. So I feel very, very safe when I'm there. I don't think for 1 minute when I'm there that if anybody was to attack me or rude to me, that any brother would let that happen. And so that's why I feel very safe and confident. When it does kick off, though, I'm not going to lie, when they start fighting each other, that's where I feel a little bit uncomfortable, because when men are fighting, they're fighting. You might get hit by accident or so on and so on. Hence why I haven't been back. And I'm not going to go back, inshallah, until the spring or the summer where it's light. This is why. But I still stand by my point, where I think that women are stronger than what people portray us to be, and that we're not these soft little creatures that have to be just hidden in the house and not given a voice. And like I said, I go with dalil. Bring me dalil, qata', that says the Rasul said, or ayah in the Quran, where it says women need to stay in the house, they don't come out, they're not allowed to talk to the opposite sex, they're not allowed to give da'wah. Then
They're not allowed to talk to the opposite sex.
What?
They're not allowed to talk to the opposite sex.
No, we're not allowed to socialize with the opposite sex. We are allowed. So if I'm a doctor, if I'm a teacher.
But you're not. Sister, you're going to a park on a Sunday afternoon up until the evening in a circle where things are getting inappropriate and discussing issues about things which are not organized. This is not.
Tell me
what. I got. So one sec. Abu Mujahid.
No.
Is your issue simply the fact that it takes place in the dark and not daylight?
No, that's one aspect. There's a few aspects that if they were tweaked, wallahi, that speaker's corner.
One point is the time of day, right?
Fitting place, wallahi, there's certain things, okay, that if they were tweaked, it is potential that speaker's corner could be a befitting place for a sister to say her piece. Wallahi, that's why I'm saying even before we've outlined those.
But wait a sec. You're saying one of the issues you have is the time of day.
Yeah, nighttime.
When it's dark. Okay. Yeah. Anything else?
Yeah, the mafsada and the maslaha, akhi. You have to weigh it up, and there's more potential for harm in these situations than there is for good. And I've seen that on video, and it's proved its case.
According to you.
Fair enough.
How do you know?
Fair enough.
How do you make a statistic? How do you know how many people have benefited as opposed to how many people haven't? How do you know how many people's minds have changed, or the other sisters have changed, as opposed to the fitna? How do you know? What basis do you have for your statistic? Do you understand me?
It's true. But that's why we only go off what's apparent, because I can't get into the minds of the viewers on YouTube. I can only go off of what's apparent.
Okay, so I get a lot of DMs, and because I'm also on Instagram, and I get a lot of people saying to me, you know what, before I heard you or spoke to you, I had a very negative opinion of Islam. I had a very negative opinion of niqab. I thought that women were forced, blah blah blah. And I'm really glad that you've opened up, and I'm really glad that you've explained it. And now I'm not so much against Islam or against Muslim women. And I'm also showing and expressing to people the actual violence that happens to Muslim women. The majority of people didn't know that niqabi sisters and hijabi sisters were actually getting physically attacked for the way they dressed. So do you not think that I should go out there and fight for the Muslim sisters? Because at the end of the day, I'm not gaining anything out of this. I'm doing this fi sabilillah. I'm going there to try and help the sisters, and I'm getting attacked by the Muslims. It's very bizarre.
Yeah, and this is what we were talking about the other night. Abu Mujahid. So the way the point of view I was taking was that if you were to look at the narrative, I don't like using that word, everyone uses that word, narrative. Anyway, if you were to look at the script that the media tries to give about Muslim women who wear niqab, you will typically see, Sorry, some weird person typing rubbish on the chat. Okay, so you'll typically see that they're trying to give the impression that a woman wearing a niqab is forced to by her family or her culture or customs. And so she has no choice in the matter. She's oppressed. Secondly, they'll make out that she's an immigrant to this country who's just scrounging off benefits. She can't speak English. And yeah, that's it really. Just exploiting our system. That's the impression they tried to give. Right? Do you agree with that?
Yep.
Can anybody hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, that is that. Do you agree that that's what the media tries to portray?
Yeah.
Or that's the general understanding of people when they see a woman in the niqab? All right. So how do you?
No. That's two different.
No?
That's two different things you just did.
What do you mean?
Number one, you're narrating the script of what the media
Yes.
is trying to push, and then you said the general understanding of the
This is
people.
what you hear from the general public on any media platform when there's interaction.
Because we got into this a bit last time, okay, when we were actually speaking about
Yes.
the system.
And this is what we're bringing up again. So now I'm trying to say is, if you accept that this is a type of narrative that's pushed out there into the public, how do you challenge it? How do you break it? Generally, you got people who don't wear niqab always talking about people who wear niqab, right? For me, the best thing that can be done is what the sister's done, and go into the park speaking. Like even on the chat earlier, somebody was saying she speaks English, right? And they were quite impressed with she sounds, and the person wanted to ask some questions to her about it. But
I can't read the questions. My phone doesn't do it. So if you,
okay.
You tell me.
So yeah, it's gone way back up the list. It might be lost now, but we can look it back later. So the point I was trying to get at is she's now breaking a barrier. She's breaking a taboo, breaking a stereotype. Number one, she speaks English like a native because she's got a London accent, or modern London accent, right? Modern Cockney, whatever you want to call it. It's a form of accent to be found in London. Secondly, she's proven that she's not following a custom blindly. She's doing out of her own volition, out of her own choice, an intelligent choice. Thirdly, she's what's the third point I wanted to make? Oh, my mind's gone blank. So she's not forced to. She's doing it out of her own choice. She wants to do it. She's not scrounging off benefits. She works. And she's happy with what she's doing. She's happy with the choice she's made. So this is breaking down barriers, and it's given an opportunity for people to actually discuss the topic with her. People who a week earlier were saying they want to ban the niqab from the public sphere, and now those same people are kind of like, well, she seemed quite decent, respectable. I may have changed my opinion on that. So I think that's worth it. I think she's doing a great thing, and it's a form of jihad, if you want to call it that. So all those people out there who are going to use that word jihad, we're talking about it's a form of jihad. Take how you want to take it. Yeah, I'm waffling now. But what do you think of what I just said?
What I feel is that it's not for the Muslims to always be reacting to every bit of propaganda that the media tried to push. Okay, because what you did was you equated the general mindset of the people with what the media are trying to push. And I don't feel like that's, first of all, fair to the human race, because you're trying to you're trying to basically say that, that every single person is going to have the same perception. Okay, however, I don't feel as if each and every human being is going to have that. However, obviously the notion's out there and people do.
Yes.
My issue is that how do we understand from a place like Speaker's Corner that those who are asking the questions don't have an agenda, okay? And if they do, they're going to be able to address their question in a way to the sister where they're going to try fish out answers that they want. And now that you're stuck in that response, it's hard to get out of it once you know that this person is insincere, because you've already started the conversation. And it's very, very, very easy if you're unprepared for a situation to just go downhill because one insincere person has come and just started interrogating you.
But isn't that a little bit patronizing to assume that because I'm a sister that I'm not going to be able to take on a person who wants to manipulate me or to change the course of the conversation? Why do you feel that a man or a brother will be more equipped to take on that? that kind of person. And at the end of the day, you're saying exactly what you're against, where you're saying that not everybody has the same mind, and how would we know what people are thinking? It's the same principle. You know, we can't judge everybody as an opponent or as somebody that's gonna twist and turn our words. We can just do the best that we can as Muslims.
But what you can't do is the opposite either, sister, and assume that everybody's a sincere truth seeker who's trying to come and ask you questions.
Yeah, but we have al-aql, we have our mind, we have our senses. We can generally tell if someone's taking the mick or someone's being sincere. And at the end of the day, you know, such is life. Why do you feel that a man is more equipped to take this on than a female?
Interesting question from Raj's Red Pill. I have to read it, actually. It's a good question. Won't this encourage more niqabis to show up to the park and promote free mixing?
Okay, define free mixing. So when the brothers are there, free mixing. I'm confused.
All right. Free mixing is quite simple, isn't it? It's when
brothers not free mixing. What are they doing there?
Sorry? The brothers most of the brothers are free mixing every single time they're talking to a woman in the park.
So that's your definition.
Sister, free mixing.
All right, what do you understand free mixing, sister?
For me, free mixing is when you're mixing with the opposite sex on a social gathering, like chatting.
So what is Speaker's Corner?
No, Speaker's Corner, you're going and you're having serious conversations. Everybody's different. For me, hold on, let me finish. Some people go to Speaker's Corner for different reasons. They go, they bust joke, they have inappropriate conversations. Some people go for intellectual conversations. Some people go to spread dawah. Some people learn. Some people just walking through and stop and just get involved. So it's an individualistic thing. For me, I don't go to free mix. If I've never gone there, as Allah's my witness, stood there and started chit-chatting with any man. And
I believe you. Wallahi, I believe you.
Me. Okay. But if a brother does that or a sister, you address them, you address that person. But to say like a blanket thing that all sisters are free mixing, all sisters shouldn't go. I was watching that last week and I saw one of the Da'i brothers standing, it was on the camera, face to face with a woman. It's just him and her. They were just together standing in the background of the camera. And I didn't see one brother go over to them or anyone comment. And for me, I felt that was a little bit inappropriate because they were just the two of them and they were like a little bit removed from the circle and they were having a conversation. No doubt he was giving her dawah, okay? However, to me, I felt that was inappropriate because there should have been a third party, okay? But I was sitting there and I was waiting for someone to make a comment. Nobody did. And this is what I don't like. I do not like the double standards. Yeah. If we're going to correct each other, we have to correct each other, both sexes. Yeah. If you're going to nahi al munkar, amar bil ma'ruf, you have to do it to both. And what's happening is just the women are getting attacked. And I do hear you. I hear you in terms of the night. The night time, you are correct. Yeah. But you have to remember at 4 o'clock, it's night time. Okay. So a few times I've fallen into that. But when I went home and I ran a check on it and I thought about it, I thought, you know what? It's true. It's dark. I can't really see where I'm going. The men are fighting, kicking off. I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait until it gets lighter for my own safety. That's why I stopped going. Okay? Not because the brothers were on my case. But for me, if the nasiha is true and it rings true, then I will take it on. But that's not why the brothers are telling me not to go. They're telling me not to go because they just do not want women there. And men, it's okay for the brothers. And I have a problem with that.
So who's jumped on the panel?
It's me, it's Isa.
Oh, Isa.
Yes, assalamu alaikum, brothers.
Who else is there? Islamophobe TV, how you doing, bro?
Yes, alaikum assalam. You're right, brother. Actually, sorry, brother, I didn't want to interrupt to say my salams. I'll just let everybody.
Right, bro. No worries, mate. No worries.
Salam to everybody.
So, yeah, I think we...
Listen, I'm new to this thing. How do I mute my...
Touch your screen. Are you on your phone?
Yeah, I'm on my phone.
So touch your screen.
We don't want you to mute your mic. We don't want you to mute your mic, bro. We want you to speak.
Okay, cool. I can see it now.
Yeah. Raj's Red Pill again has a question for the Muslim sister. If it's not a stupid question, go ahead. While you're typing your question, Isa, were you listening to what's being talked about?
Yeah, I was actually, and I normally don't come on these hangouts things, but I felt strongly about it, so I had to come on today still.
Oh, strong feelings on this one, yeah?
Yeah, I'm a bit of a women's rights activist when it comes to this one here still.
Okay, bruv. What do you want to tell Abu Mujahid?
Oh, why are you making it a thing about going? No, I'm not going against the Akhid. Abu Mujahid is my Salafi brother, but I just feel he's got this one a little wrong. And my angle is within all of his talk about Mafsada Maslaha, I've hardly heard any dalil to show that there's something haram, implicitly or explicitly haram with the action of the sister. Now, I personally have an issue with the verse that was mentioned, and the verse is the ayah in Surah Ahzab, which says, وَقَرْنَا فِي بُيُوتِكُنَّ وَلَا تَبَرَّجْنَ تَبَرُّجَ الْجَاهِلِيَّةِ الْأُولَى. Now, I've had a conversation with brothers about this verse before, and when you start at the start of the context, it explicitly starts saying, "O wives of the Prophet, you are like none other of the women from mankind." So that there is a specific indication that the fadl and the responsibility that is on the sahabiyat, the wives of the messenger, is not that which is upon all the rest of the women.
But Isa,
so I feel like that, yeah.
The issue here is that why is it that when an obligation restriction comes upon the the wives of the Prophet, we want to be very quick to negate the fact that or affirm the fact that that's only for them. But when it comes to their strength and the certain things that they used to do which were not applied to the general woman, then the women want to use them as the role model. Do you understand?
Do you have any examples?
Yeah, bro. So like whenever it comes to Khadija being a businesswoman, Aisha coming out in certain circumstances and refuting her, I don't know many examples, I'll be honest. Then it's like, oh, look what they did. But then when there's a specific command to them, very individuals who they're bringing up as a role model to do something, then it's like, oh, it's only for them.
I hear you. So in other places and in other ayats, I would agree with you that the ayats in terms of the women are general. But in this specific verse, I believe that this ayat is khas. That is to say that this ayat is specific. And the reason why I say it's specific is because of the wording. Now the wording is very specific. Ya nisa an-nabi, lastunna ka ahadin min an-nisa. There's a whole load of injunctions and instructions which are linked to being wives of the Prophet, which are not then extended to other women. But, for example, the verses of hijab and khimar and jalabib, all of that is applicable to the women. And I don't find anything, for example, you're saying like the people say Khadija was a businesswoman. Naam, she was a businesswoman. And there's nothing Islamically to say that a woman can't have her own tijara, or that she must hand over her money to her husband or the likes and such. So I don't really have an issue per se with a woman saying that. And I don't think anyone else really should.
The thing is,
also the mufassirin of that ayah the brother spoke about explain specifically that ayah was for the Prophet's wives. So if you go to the tafsir of the ayah, you will see that, which is why I said it. Whereas, like the brother said, all the other ayat where it starts off with the Prophet, Allah says, tell your wives and the believers. So therefore, the women, the normal woman falls into that. Whereas with the previous ayah, it was specific just to the Prophet's wives. Hence why I said that.
Mujahid, let me ask you a question, Is it permissible for the women to go to the aswaq, the markets?
I believe, it's permissible, of course, in certain cases.
Okay, so the aswaq is going to have men and women in it, isn't it? It's gonna, like in this time and age, there's no way you're going to be able to separate between men and women, right?
Exactly, but are we going to dismiss the hadith? What's the most detested place to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala?
Okay, tayyib, but does that detest, what's the word that's used? Is it karaha? Dislike?
I can't remember, but it's hate. It's the most hated place.
Okay, but it's not. But karaha and being hated and detested doesn't necessitate tahrim. Doesn't necessitate it being haram.
I'm not saying that.
Right.
This is the point I want to make.
Yeah.
the fact that you guys are very intent on proving to me that the verse only applies to the Prophet Prophet's wives is irrelevant, because I already know that. Because if I believed otherwise, I wouldn't be here discussing why it's inappropriate to be at Speaker's Corner. I would literally say you can't go there. Do you understand?
Yeah, I hear what you're saying, but the both meanings to me when I hear it, they carry the same sort of undertone. If you say it's inappropriate, yeah, are you saying that they shouldn't be there, or it's better for them not to be there?
My first initial stance is that it's much better for them not to be there, and that because Speaker's Corner now holds certain activities, the way things are going, then after further analysis of the situation, then it's like, okay, now you shouldn't be there.
Okay, all right. So personally, I would generally agree, yeah, because of the current status, the way Speaker's Corner is going on now, I would agree that it can be a bit dangerous for women. My only angle is the danger aspect for women. Personally, I'm always on the lookout for sisters when they're in Speaker's Corner, just to make sure nobody else is trying anything funny. But from the angle of conversation, no one, not even neither a brother or a sister, can dictate the conversation that's going to come out of the other person's mouth. So if we're going to ban people on the basis of the potential of somebody saying something that's going to offend them or be wild, then we should just do a blanket ban on Muslims, full stop, going to the park.
The thing is, the sister's obviously of the view that it's very good for her to be there, okay? And that's where I want to discuss, because all my statement is that I wouldn't want the other sisters to take her as a role model. I wouldn't want them to go do what she's doing, because
that's quite drastic though. Saying to someone you wouldn't want her to be a role model and saying you wouldn't want sisters to follow in their actions, they're quite separate, because although you like you stated yourself, although you disagreed with the certain aspect of the sister's actions, you actually sort of approved of her at the same time as well.
Your reactionary, sorry to interrupt. Your reactionary, did you check the back chat?
Back chat?
Yeah, of this, yeah.
Not yet.
Yeah, if you check it. Did you block my other live channel, the other one, the football live channel account? On the chat.
I blocked the football chat. Yeah, there was a football.
That was me, bro.
Is that you, bruv? Oh, my
bad.
Yeah, I think. You see this Red Pill Trill, yeah?
Red Pill Trill, yeah.
He slanders Allah and that, innit?
Yeah.
Kick him out.
Okay, this is no joke. That's why Red Pill basically blatantly mocks Allah and His Rasul.
Okay, but he was asking the sister a question. He might do that, but if he does it on this channel, then he'll get blocked.
Yeah, that's up to you, bro. I'm just saying. I'm just informing you that one mocked Allah and our Rasul. Basically.
Did he do it on this channel?
Not on this channel, but on all the other channels.
All right, thanks for letting me know.
I want to agree with Asa, and I've already agreed with Brother Abu Mujahid already, in terms of the fact that when it becomes dangerous, I will take it like day by day, month by month, year by year. So at the moment, in the past few months, I saw that it did become dangerous, and it wasn't going according to how I wanted it to go and how it was before. I stopped going. So 100% agree that my safety, it comes first. And, I am walking Dawah, and so I took that into consideration as well. But the point remains that Muslim women going to Speaker's Corner, I do not think it's haram, and I do not think it's free mixing just because she's there. It's like having a car. Is the car haram? No. But where you going with the car could lead you to haram. And that's in any situation. Like the brother said, in a marketplace, at work, a woman can work. But she has to, not fall into haram, and same as the man. And if a sister goes to Speaker's Corner and she can't control herself, then Speaker's Corner is not the right place for her.
Can I say something?
Has Issa dropped off? Issa?
Yeah, I'm back, bro.
Quick question, bruv.
Yeah.
Would you let your wife go to Speaker's Corner and do what the sister's doing?
Yeah, definitely.
No issues?
100%. No issues whatsoever. Okay. Especially if she's dressed the way the sister's dressed as well.
Okay. But by herself, without you?
by herself without me. Now I'll go though, like, so there wouldn't be a. But if I wasn't going and she wanted to go, yeah, like that. Why not? If she was going there for that one, she was going there for a good, positive Islamic message.
Oh, sorry, I was wrong to say by herself, because Lady in the Veil doesn't go by herself. She goes with a group of sisters, which is a good thing.
I also
Okay,
most of the time.
But is it wajib for her to go with a mahram though?
This is it depends on the environment. If it's a place that's unsafe, then yes, it's encouraged to go with a mahram. If it's yeah, go on.
You know, my thing is, I just sometimes I feel like people mistake istihbab with wujub. They conflate what's recommended and what's obligatory, right?
Yeah.
It would be sunny for you to go down with your whole family, make a day of it, brothers, sisters, fathers. That would be great, but not all the time can people do that.
Yeah.
I just want to add also, alhamdulillah, I do believe that the brothers, mashallah, would defend me if I had a problem, okay? Hence why I don't come with a mahram. The second reason why I don't come with a mahram is because I do have a brother, alhamdulillah, he's a man, and he would come with me to Speaker's Corner. The reason why I don't ask him to come is because I know that maharim are very, very overprotective. And so if I come with my brother and someone says something slightly inappropriate, or maybe got a little bit too close, it could end up in a fight, okay? So because I know that, I don't ask my brothers to come with me. And so probably if I got married, I probably wouldn't come with my husband. Not because my husband wouldn't let me go. I'm a strong woman. I would be able to come with my husband. But for the simple fact that I know that brothers are over protective of the sisters, okay? So, but I know, I believe that brothers that are not my maharim are still my brothers in Islam. And if somebody was to overstep the mark, try to hit me or swear at me...
Is there an Islamic proof? Sorry, was I cutting out? Did you hear what I said?
Can I just bring something from Tafsir al-Qurtubi?
Yeah, tafadhal.
Do you guys take from Imam al-Qurtubi, sister? Like, as in, do you respect him as a mufassir?
I respect him, as well as others, yeah.
Of course. Okay, I just want to just bring his meaning, what he explained the verse about the wives of the Prophet, okay? Leaving the house. So what he said was, the meaning of this verse is the command to stay in the house, although it is addressed to the wives of the Prophet ﷺ, other women are also included, even if there were no specific evidence to include all other women. So how about when Sharia is filled with evidence that women should stay in their houses and avoid going out except when necessary, according to what we have stated above in more than one place? That's his words. I'm just thought, if you guys want to check it out, maybe get more context. It's 14179 of his tafsir. Okay?
Yeah, I would do that before dismissing what he said still, but yeah.
Yeah, I don't have an issue with that. My point is, like I said before, and I'm going to sort of reiterate it again, is that a lot of the times the Mufassirin, when they made fatwas or explained a hadith, it was based on the time that they were living, and based on Muslims living in an Islamic or Muslim country. We are not living in a Muslim or Islamic country, so we do have to sometimes rely on fiqh al-waqi', okay? And right now, it's very, very different for the Muslim woman. A lot of women don't have maharim. A lot of Muslim are divorced and abandoned by their maharim. And a lot of women are reverts. They don't have any maharim and hence have to go out and have to do things. And again, the reason why I go to Speaker's Corner is to break barriers and to try and make it easier for the Muslim woman. If we wasn't under attack and we didn't have this problem, I wouldn't go to speak. I'll probably go to Speaker's Corner now and again and probably not even get involved in a lot of the conversations. But because I feel that there is a need for a niqabi, more importantly, to come out and voice this, I actually see it as an obligation I've put on myself. Because like I said before, I don't benefit at all from going to Speaker's Corner. I don't get paid for it. I certainly don't get praised for it. But I feel like there is a need. And if there's anything I can do to help my Muslim sister not to get pushed in front of the train, not to get slapped, not to get spat on, and to have a voice, then I think it's well worth it.
I have a question. Can I ask a question?
Yeah. Who do you want to ask it to?
Anyone. I don't go to Speaker's Corner because I'm not in London. But my question is, do you think that Muslims should be going to Speaker's Corner at all? or should they be going to Speaker's Corner and propagating their religious beliefs?
I think they should go to Speaker's Corner, but I do think that people have to take on the responsibility when they're giving dawah to know what they're talking about. So, all respect to the brothers that are there that are giving proper dawah, mashallah. But the ones that are just coming and getting into fitna, getting into arguments with no knowledge and no practice, I do think that they should refrain from getting involved in dawah.
Yeah,
sister.
because
sorry,
yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but go ahead.
You sure?
Yeah.
Okay, because I was asking this question because when I observe Speaker's Corner, I find that when it comes to Muslims, generally speaking, the bad outweighs the good. I mean, they haven't had much of a positive impact in the park, and I believe that there are a lot of Muslims who lack knowledge but feel compelled to give da'wah, and they are not it's not appropriate for them, and I think a lot of damage is being done rather than giving the Islam and Muslims a good image from what I've seen.
I got a question, sister. Sorry, thanks for that, JK.
Yeah,
I got a quick question.
Just the input.
Yeah, big up. So one of the issues Abu Mujahid had about the free mixing was the social sort of interaction, right? Informal interaction. Have you had that? Have you experienced that at the park? Have you had people approaching you in a sort of social format?
I've had people approach me for marriage, and so I nipped that in the bud. I've had sometimes the conversation turns to where are you from, how old are you, this kind of situation where I would answer maybe one question and then say, look, I've got to go. Like I said, I'm a grown woman. I know how to sort of end a conversation. But yeah, it's human nature that people will want to, after asking you about your veil or whatnot, try to maybe ask you personal questions or maybe even become friends or something. But if they're from the opposite sex, I nip it in the bud.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
I've got one more thing to say, if that's all right. Like this kind of whole debate so far has revolved around men versus women. Can Muslim women do what men do at the park? But I think it's fair to say that most men are unequipped to do da'wah. So, do you think that women could do a better job, or than the men? That's my question to the sister.
No, I wouldn't say they would do a better job. It all depends on the ilm. If you have the ilm and you have the gift of the gab, and you have the presence to be able to articulate the deen, then I don't think it matters whether you're a man or woman. The problem is in Speaker's Corner we have people that have hamas, they have passion, but they have no knowledge, and so their hamas and their passion, their love for Allah and His Messenger comes out, but they have nothing to back it with, hence why they get angry and get violent and start swearing, and then it becomes something else, and then people say, is this Muslims, if this is Islam, I don't want Islam, and so on and so forth. So I know that their hearts are in the right places, but I don't think da'wah is really their forte, and they should desist because they are causing fitna.
So what would you say is your best achievement at the park?
I've had a few conversations where I've changed people's minds in terms of their opinion on banning the niqab. I've enlightened a few people in regards to what really is the woman's role and women's rights in Islam. And I think, what, subhanAllah, just my presence, like visually being there, has made people sort of, I have a lot of people stop and say, oh, a veiled woman, so you let out. Sometimes it's even sarcastic, but it's still said, oh, so you're allowed out, you're allowed to be here. And I'm like, yeah, I am here. And then they hear the, the English accent, and it takes them back. And so I think, because as we know, Muslims, we're not only verbal in our dawah, but we're actually walking dawah. So I think people just seeing me in the park, seeing me have the conversations, it is a positive. But I would definitely say breaking stereotypes has been my biggest achievement.
Okay. So were you at the sister circle when Isa joined? Not the one on this panel, the other guy. Was it you?
Yeah. Okay. So.
No, let me just ask my question. You must have been asked this a lot of times, so I don't want to be rude in any way. But when I watched that, and that's the only video I think I've seen you in, it did look quite negative, to be honest. And I just, because you were there and you were involved in it, what is your opinion on how it all unfolded?
So basically, how it happened was just a quick brief to the history of the sister circle. A few women had the same idea that I had, which is that we should have a women's circle, where women can take charge of the conversations and gear the conversations to where we want them to be. Okay, so we set up a WhatsApp group, and in amongst that WhatsApp group, we had ladies of different opinions. Okay, because me and Iffy took the initiative to set it up. Yeah, I then.
Assalamu
alaikum salam.
I writ up the ethos.
Sorry, continue.
I writ up the ethos of what we wanted to achieve in the women's group. And what I said, and the sisters agreed with me, apart from one, was that how we would dictate the topics, we would control the topics. However, men were allowed to join the conversation. Yeah, they could have input, but they couldn't take over, nor could they change the course of the situation. Now, one woman amongst that group disagreed and left the group. Okay. So the reason why I said that was two reasons. First of all, is Speaker's Corner. Yeah, we cannot control who comes in and out, or police who comes in and out of the circles. Yeah, it was just going to cause conflict. You can't speak. Yes, you can speak. So I thought, okay, that's not practical. Number two, the men are 50% of the world. So a lot of the problems women have, the men are connected to. So it's pointless us talking and discussing points and problems if there isn't the other half listening and interjecting and learning. Hence why I said they can join in, but they can't take over. Now, with the situation where Isa was concerned, the whole conversation was recorded. The middle was recorded. So at the beginning, Isa said, "Can I join?" We were like standing. It was only a few of us, about 3 of us, and we said, "Okay, we're gonna talk about marriage." I think I really can't remember the topic. And
I think it's polygamy, was it?
No, it wasn't polygamy.
Oh,
no,
sorry.
Polygamy came in afterwards.
Okay.
So he said, "Sisters, is it okay if I join in?" And I said to him specifically, "You can join in, but you are not allowed to take over. You're not allowed to change the conversation. Okay? It's our circle, and we are going to control the narrative." He said, "Okay." Now, Idris is a very strong, outspoken person. So what happened was, when he started speaking and a couple of men joined him, they kind of overwhelmed the conversation. Okay, so it wasn't. I don't think it was done deliberately, but they kind of took over a little bit. Yeah. But it was still within the framework of what we were saying. Yeah, because we were still having input. And then he asked the polygamy question. Okay, that's what happened. And then other people took snippets of that and then said, "Oh, a women's circle that had men in it," and blah, blah, blah. And that's how that whole fitness started. But from the onset, we always said that it's going to be a women's circle, but men can join. That was always the plan.
All right. Okay. Thank you for answering my questions.
All right. So, Abu Mujahid. What's your thoughts? Have you been swayed at all?
It's not really a matter of being swayed, to be honest. I think it's just, exchanging Dalil's perspectives, because I mean, I was never in total opposition to what the sister was doing from the beginning. Yeah. And it's more just that I feel it needs tweaking. Okay. And perhaps Speaker's Corner may be okay. It's just not the place. But there's other things that can be done. And like just leaving a house in general, it's not something which is just forbidden for the woman, but it's something that it needs to be justified. That what's going on here? Okay, why is the woman leaving the house? Okay,
Yeah, but I mean, can you see how that sounds?
what?
Because that just sounds like almost like women are prisoners. They have no,
But sister, with all due respect, like,
It's like, I mean, come on, it's like so.
Abu, can I ask you a question, please?
yeah,
Are you
but
coming from a purely Islamic point of view, or are you like mixing Pashtun culture in this? Because we know that in Pashtun culture, women are very, very restricted, and you and I are both Pashtun.
yeah, I know, but I'm not coming from our culture, bro.
Because we come from like one of the most conservative cultures in the world.
The most.
Yeah, probably the most. Yeah.
But I'm not coming from that standpoint, Aki. Like, it doesn't mean anything to me because
Are you not influenced by it at all?
No, because if that stuff if at any point is in contradiction to the Sunnah or even a grey area, I would just completely throw it away.
So, Abu Mujahid, the women in your family only go out for their needs. They don't go out at all. They only go out when they have to go out. They just stay home.
Sorry, can you repeat that?
The women in your family, do they only go out for their needs? They don't go to school or work or do anything other than just stay at home and go out, maybe to go shopping and do they wear hijab shari?
That's not the case. No.
I'm just asking you.
No, I'm saying that's not the case. I'm answering.
Okay. And do the women in your family wear hijab shari?
I don't believe so.
Okay. And do you have any say in that?
No, because I don't have a wife, and anyone other than my wife is not my, she doesn't come under my wing. I can only give advice.
So how would you want your wife to dress?
To the Sharia obligation, of course.
And would you let her drive?
Would I let her drive?
Well, Saudi Arabia.
No, because some brothers still won't let their wives drive. Would you let her drive?
I think Omar will let her drive only with him, no on his own.
Yeah,
I've seen many niqabis drive.
I drive.
Yeah, I've seen many niqabis drive.
Like, if she wanted to go to like a car park and like just try it out and stuff.
No, that's Pashtun culture, man. That's Pashtun culture.
I think you're drinking too much milk. Bro, are you drinking milk again?
Jafar, man, what are you talking about?
Slogan, bro. You were drinking a lot of milk that night.
Let's not talk. No.
Abu Mujahid, can I ask you a question? Yeah. Is there anything specific that comes to mind because you mentioned a statement? You said the women must be justified when they leave the house. Is that something that you've been taught by the ulama or any of the books that you've read? And if so, can you refer us back to anything that?
I mean, there's a statement that Qurtubi gave that I gave you. He's a respected scholar of the Salaf, right? And then there's just the general narrations about the women, and obviously the Quranic ayah, the addressing the wives of the Prophet, obviously from his understanding is one thing. Then just the fact that, the Prophet ﷺ even said that the best salah for the woman is in her house, okay?
Yeah.
What's even better than that is the one in her room, and then in the most innermost chambers of her room. And it is better than going to the haram. It's just like, why would that be the case?
Yeah. It's all my reason and my query is all surrounded around the language. Sometimes I feel like the language is a little bit off. When you say not justified, that rings to me as not permissible. Like, unless she has a reason to leave the house, then it's not permissible to do so. Is that, maybe I've misunderstood you? Is that what you're saying, or you're just saying it's better not to?
I'd say it's better not to, because I feel as if on a sunny day, like once in a while, the woman to go for a walk around the park, I don't see any problem with that.
Okay, all right.
There's a link I posted in the chat. It's from the website called Imam Ibn Baz. So he was asked about a woman going out for a number of reasons, and his answer was these are good reasons for her to go out. For example, for her to seek knowledge, or to teach, and to give nasiha, or which is advice, or you could say that's dawah, and iyadat al-marda or al-marid, which is to visit the sick people or the ill, or to visit the relatives. All of these are good things to do for the woman. Okay, however, it's upon her to do it in a way that's according to the Sharia, or in line with the Sharia, compliant. You with me so far? and done in a way that is avoiding of fitna. So she should not what's called tabarruj. You know what tabarruj means? That's like what's that? Displaying, or being showing tabarruj, attracting attention. You could say it. Not attracting attention. ولا تبدأ شيئا من زينتها, and she should not show off her beauty. وتكون متحفظة مستترة بعيدة عن أسباب الفتنة, and she should go out in a way that is not going to attract attention or cause fitna. And she should not go out wearing a large amount of perfume that would cause people to look around or look at her. فتذهب إلى المسجد, so she can go to the mosque, she can go to the hospital, and she can go visit her neighbors and her relatives, and there's no problem in her doing so. She can walk by foot. إذا كان ما في خطر, if there's no danger. Tell me to shut up if I'm just spoiling the flow here. كان المحل آمن فلا حرج تذهب على رجليها. So yeah, if the place is a safe neighborhood, then there's no harm in her walking. And this is what the women of the Sahaba used to do in Medina. As for a place in which there's danger, then فليس لها, then she should not go out, except with somebody that can protect her. إما جارا, then that could be a neighbor, a trustworthy neighbor or reliable neighbor, or a woman, or a good woman that can walk with her, for example, to the marketplace, until she gets there. As for with a driver, you could say somebody who's driving a car. So in some countries they have specific drivers allocated for women. Then that can be dangerous because the man may take her someplace alone and mistreat her. So what else? Yep, so that's really pretty much his answer on that regard. He's also said let me leave it there. So what do you think of that fatwa?
Yeah, that sounds more precise and realistic. Can I just ask Abu Mujahid? Abu Mujahid, have you ever been injured and had to go to the hospital? Had an injury?
Yeah, maybe once.
Okay, so whilst when you got called out by the nurse, was it a female? Was it a male?
I think the initial one was a female.
Okay, did you let her examine you?
Potentially.
Okay, would you? So you didn't say no. I'd rather wait and have a male nurse.
I was Jahil's sister.
But would you do that now? No, be honest.
Okay, what? So if I'm what kind of injury is it?
Any injury. So you've got an injury, and a female nurse comes out, and would you say, you know what? Sorry, I need a male nurse, and I don't mind waiting for 3 hours.
Is she gonna have to touch me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd probably wait for a male nurse.
You would.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, like back in the day, no, but now,
Okay.
I probably wouldn't do that.
Alhamdulillah. Because I find that a lot of times brothers, if they're injured or they have an appointment at work or housing and they have to do a khalwa or they have to be examined by a female, they're okay with that. But when it's the sister, even if she's in labour, they demand that she asks for a female, even if it means that she's going to maybe potentially put people at risk, and even knowing that it's actually halal for her to be seen by a male physician. So I just thought that I'd ask you that. But alhamdulillah, you said that you would.
I hope so. Well, I don't want to.
But that's also not an equivalent, because a woman is more likely to be subject to abuse than a man. So a woman being treated by a man she has more potential of being mistreated than a man being treated by a woman.
Yeah, I agree. But, I mean, it's like there's this notion that, the Muslim woman has no nafs, she has no hawa, she has no desire. That seems to sort of go over everybody's head, and it's almost like we're just robots. And, if the man's there, she's not going to fall into any fitna or something. But for the man, when it's the other way around, the brother, it's completely okay that he's seen by a female nurse.
Yeah.
I just find
good question for you, sister. Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you, but at the park, I mean, there are some, I guess, people who are considered to be the senior du'at from the Muslims, or the ones that are consulted on issues like praying in the park and so on. Did any of these people talk to you about going to the park?
No,
Did they have an opinion?
Yes, I know Shamsi thinks I shouldn't go. He made a comment. Somebody asked him. He said that I shouldn't be there, especially after Maghrib. That's his opinion. I haven't heard the opinion of any of the other brothers, to be honest, what they think. But as far as I know, he's the only one that's made comment regarding
Your brother,
after Maghrib.
Can I add something to this? Yeah.
Go ahead, bro.
Like, obviously, religious wise, I don't know. I don't have no knowledge about it. I personally think right now, for any woman or children to be at speaker's corner, is wrong. Reason being, because right now there's been so much clowning going on. There's fights. There is like people foul mouth. You get me? So it's not a scene that a lady or children should be in it. So I'm not talking religious wise. I'm just talking like common sense. And one thing, girls, if someone gets rude to sisters, obviously, like if there's brothers there, they're gonna go mad. But how can I say this? Like, when you're in a fight and you tell your woman to stay out of the way, because if they come in, they just make things worse. So if they get hurt, you're gonna end up killing the guy. So either way you look at it, it's not good at the moment, isn't it?
Oh, I agree with you. Hence why I haven't gone back.
Sorry, sister, can I ask you a question? I don't know if it was this hangout or another hangout. I think somebody was saying you got attacked or something like that, and you've actually talked about that previously or earlier on. That I don't know if you have or other sisters have with niqab.
Yes, I have been attacked various times.
Can you go into that a little bit?
I will
if you can.
I will go into it, but I've got a YouTube page and I'm gonna do like a 4-part series on all the different attacks I've had, inshallah. But
inshallah.
My niqab has been ripped off me on a bus by a woman.
By a woman?
Yeah, she got arrested and charged, and we had to go to court. She got convicted. A man pulled out a knife at me. Well, he was reaching for his knife in Kilburn High Road. He got caught and arrested and got a conviction.
So how old was this man? Like 40 years old, white man? Or...
Man with a knife he was about 45, 46.
Okay.
He'd come out of the pub. I was just walking up Kilburn High Road with my children. They were little then.
With your children?
I was with my children, which was really scary. My children, my friend, her children and my children, we were just about to Kilburn High Road, and he said, take that effing thing off your face, blah, 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 and he said, I'm going to stab you, and he was reaching for his knife, and his friend, a lady was with him, she was saying, no, not, she wasn't saying don't stab her, she was saying, not here, there's cameras. So alhamdulillah, I saw, it was 7/7, so it was the next day after 7/7 happened, so there was a lot of police activity. So I looked into the road, and there was a plain car, but it had the lights flashing. So I actually stopped. I jumped in front of the car and I stopped it, and it had high-ranking police officers in it. So anyway, I told them what happened. They came out. They started looking for him, and so we couldn't nearly didn't find him. Got in the car because they were going to take me home, and then I saw him. So he got arrested and charged, and he got convicted. I was on the train one time with my daughters.
Alhamdulillah to hear that.
Yeah, alhamdulillah. Another guy on the train wanted to take my niqab off. My daughter stood up, and then he slapped her. And then there was a scuffle.
You slapped your daughter?
Slapped my daughter, yeah.
How old is your daughter at that time?
Yeah, she was miskin. I think she was 14. So I had a 14-year-old with me. I had a 12-year-old with me.
Big man like that,
happens in front of us, man. I wish
had a 17-year-old with me.
Yeah, these things don't, you know. That's why I was wishing things like that happen.
Yeah.
I wish sometimes these things happen in front of me, man. I wish.
There was one, but alhamdulillah, I took down the alarm, you know, the train alarm.
Yeah, of course.
And what happened was a brother, mashallah, was a really big brother. He actually, because he never saw it from the beginning, he just saw the scuffle. And then so he, as the train stopped, he picked him up and threw him off the train. So, but what happened was the mistake that the train people made, because they speak to you through the intercom and they say what's happened, blah blah. So I've been attacked. So what they did was, the station security came and took me off the train, and he was already off the train. So what then happened was the train went, and I was just left with him. So, which was really, really bad. So then the security guard took him like maybe 15, 20 meters away and turned his back. When he turned his back, the man charged us and he was running to try and throw us onto the tracks. And so obviously my children started screaming and I was really, really scared because, you know, if he'd got to us, you know, the security jumped in front of him and we called the police. He slipped through the police's hands and he went onto another station and he actually beat up a sister.
So he beat up someone else?
Yeah, so the police didn't catch him.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so then he went to another station and then a sister was going up the escalator and he dragged her from her hijab and I think he boxed her. He still didn't get caught. That one got away, yeah. What else?
You know, many of these attacks don't get reported, you know. Some of these sisters just go home quickly and whatever, you know, doesn't get reported.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, I've had many attacks that I haven't called the police for, but the major ones
of course.
I had a woman try to rip my niqab off in the shop. She followed me out into the street. She followed me to the bus stop because, you know, I drive on and off.
Sister, have you seen that video, where, like, I think a Muslim woman in a niqab like yourself, she was getting, like, attacked verbally, I think. And then what she did was she just, like, managed to somehow get the woman to come to the side and just talk to her. She took her niqab off, like, just in front of her. And she started speaking to her. And then the woman just started bursting out crying and started hugging her. Like, right after this attacking her.
Yeah, I mean, but it depends, like, it's difficult to converse with somebody who's effing and blinding.
No, of course.
It's really hard. So, you know, like with the woman that followed me around the shop, I was actually stood and I actually explained to her, you know, she said that I'm a disgrace to women and that feminism fought for women's rights and it's disgusting the way I dress. So I actually tried to explain to her, look, I'm just a Muslim woman. I'm just dressing this is the way I want to dress. It's because I believe that, you know, it's for my modesty. And she wasn't having it. She followed me out. She followed me to the bus stop. But subhanAllah, that was the one time where the public gave me, you know, overwhelming support. So, you know, the people just at the bus stop and she wouldn't stop. And then so she got like verbally attacked by a black woman, a white woman, a Somali brother. You know, they were like, how dare you, it's nothing to do with you. So alhamdulillah, they defended me to the extent that she just jumped on the first bus that came. So, you know, you do get support. Another time I was at the bus stop and subhanAllah, the bus stop was in Hammersmith. It was right outside a wine bar. And so and it was during the day, so I was with my daughter. She was 17 at the time, my eldest. And they came out of the pub and they were like, oh, look, she's Dark Vader. And they looked down at my shoes and she was like, oh, even her shoes are black. So just ignored them, but then she poked me. So obviously my daughter was like, don't poke my mum. What are you doing? So then they just jumped on my daughter. They jumped on my daughter, they attacked her. And then I tried to take them off my daughter, then they attacked me. So it was like a proper brawl. Hijab off, niqab off, everything was off. But subhanAllah, it was Jumu'ah. And I don't know where the brothers came out from. They just came from everywhere. And they pulled them off and police came, they cordoned off the street. It was crazy. It was really bad. It was crazy. And obviously I have to pick up my niqab from over there, pick off my hijab from over there. That's the most humiliating situation when you get attacked as your hijab comes off.
Sorry, 1 second. Can a Bengali please translate what Go Live Media Live just said about me, please? Thank you. Sorry, Sister Karen.
No problem. Yeah, so that's just a few of the incidents.
Thank you very much, sister. Sorry to brought it all up again.
No problem.
But yeah, you should do. You said you're gonna do it on your channel. On my yeah, you should bring it. Yeah, bring it into light. You know, because I think many people want to hear exactly the full story.
In that situation, the police were like kind of like racist. So what happened was they put them in the van, and then we were told to go to the police station, which was literally like half a minute walk. So we went to the police station. We were waiting for the officers to come. Didn't come. So my daughter went out and she found that what happened was the officers actually took them out of the van and was chatting to them, and one of them actually had his hat on her head, and she was giving him like a little lap dance. So obviously my daughter came back and told me, so we've come back round, and so obviously my daughter, British born, third generation, she actually confronted the police officer, and she's like, what are you doing? How dare you? Why have you unhandcuffed them, and why are you dancing with them? I'm going to make a complaint. So he turns around and he said, what? And he goes, right, you're under arrest. And he handcuffed my daughter. He handcuffed my daughter and put her in the van. So she got arrested. And so obviously I took that up. Islam Channel took it up. Tell Mama took it up. And I made a complaint to the police. And the person got disciplined. But yeah, it was that was a bad situation. That kind of like affected my belief in the police. But you know, not all police.
Do you think it's more easier for women that Muslim women are getting more attacked? It's because it's easier for them, or more visible, or more weaker? You think than a Muslim man? Because most of the time I hear is the sisters, or you know, it's the women that are getting attacked.
Yeah, because generally Islamophobes are cowards. Because you know,
of course,
they pray on
women, yeah.
They batter old men that are coming back from Fajr prayer, and they attack women. Sometimes they even attack children. I don't know. You know, there was that thing where that man was following those young children.
Yeah, this recent one I just seen. Yeah.
This happens. I see all the time, but they never attack Muslim men. But unfortunately, to be honest,
it's good news, sister, that he's been arrested. I heard that he's been arrested. Yeah, so I don't know if it's So that was today. I think they were arrested him, but hopefully these people are getting more brave with children. You know,
really, Ismail.
Yeah. You need to maybe look it up properly. But I heard that he was arrested. A few of the channels and like from Facebook and stuff like that did say that he was arrested. But
all right, listen, I'm gonna share a video on the back chat. It's unlisted. If Reactionary can share it, screen if you can. And Omar, check.
Is it the one that you got on your channel, bruv?
No. It's similar to. It's another one. I need you to watch it. It's hold on. Let me just show you the link. It's
Just tell me what it is, and I'll.
It's nothing bad. It's nothing. It's not.
I think Great Junior saying who got arrested. It's the guy who was following the kids around on the bus, or he's filming them on the bus.
It's about a little kid and a role model of the Grand teaching the kid what to say. Just basically.
Inshallah, let's do that.
This one's quite old as well. This came out a while ago.
Yeah, that's.
I don't know. This came out. Yeah. I think it's just come around. It's doing its round right now. But yeah, go ahead.
I shared the link. Anyone in the back chat can watch it.
A little bit like with Abu Mujahid. I know, like he's proper Salafi and he sees things only in like black and white. But unfortunately, not everything is black and white because we are in the West. And I had to.
That's the video. Sorry, that's the video where he's saying really foul things, and the mother is teaching him those things.
Mother, the Gran.
Yeah.
Basically, you can
Millwall,
Millwall one. You can tell that the family kind of like okay.
Listen, growing up in South London, I used to be called a Paki all the time, and the police didn't do anything about it. And
bro, in my school,
what the sister was saying.
I was the only coloured person there, and I was called the old N words, everything, man, non-stop.
Oh yeah.
Know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm sure.
I say it's like important that we have a voice. Like I had to do a training session with counter-terrorism police and high-ranking police to sort of. I was invited as a consultant to sit down and explain to them what a Muslim woman is and why she dresses the way she dresses, what her perimeters are, what her restrictions are, and how to actually interact with a veiled woman. And so I think that these things are important. If I didn't do that, who's going to do it? I could just sit in my house and not go out and just look after myself and my children and not give a damn about the Muslim community. But I feel like it is my responsibility as a Muslimah to try and educate people. And from that, they went on and trained their other police on what I've taught them. How to interact with a Muslim woman, not just a veiled woman, but women in general, Muslim women in general. So
interestingly, we wouldn't be hearing about this from you unless you went to the park.
Yeah.
So all right. So next question is, how did the police come to know about you that you're someone that they should consult?
Yeah, I work for the police. I'm snitch. No, through the messages. Yeah. the masjid, the sisters from the masjid contacted me because they had already a niqabi sister who was doing it. She was.
Hold on one sec.
What's that
Who's
sound?
playing the video? Can you
That's
just
the one,
mute
bro.
it?
Listen.
Yeah, all right. I don't want to hear it, bro. So just mute it, please.
Sorry.
Thanks.
So the Salafi sister that was doing it, they sort of wanted to change, you know, maybe they wanted diversity, I don't know. So the masjid approached me because it's my local masjid, and they asked me if I wanted to do it, and they offered me money. But I didn't take it. I wanted to do it for Sabilillah. And so I done the training sessions with them. So how it was the first couple of hours, the imam was explaining to them the shahada, the 5 pillars of Islam. It was that type of course where he would tell them the basic tenets of Islam. And then part 2 at lunchtime, after they had lunch, I was brought in, and so basically a whole room of senior police, and they would ask me questions. And first of all, I'd give them an introduction, who I am, what I believe, why I wore what I wear, how long I've been wearing it for. And then they would ask me questions for about 2 hours.
Right.
It's just a ask you a question. Sister?
Yeah.
You know, your voice, I think I might have talked to you before. Do you also go by Sophia Noor or any other name?
No.
Okay, your voice sounds like this girl I heard before. Sister I heard.
Sister, no, that's not me.
No, that sister's Somali. This sister is North African.
Okay, yeah, it sounds so similar, so I was like...
All right. So, sister, you're going to go back to the park in the spring, you said?
Inshallah.
Inshallah.
You know, can you give my view of this situation that you guys talking about? I'm not sure if anybody else wanted to talk first or...
What did you say, DJ?
Can you give my opinion on this situation that you guys are talking about?
Go on.
I think when it comes to Speaker's Corner, I think the sisters need to get together and find a different location, and have a location outside Speaker's Corner where they can get together and speak about Islam, as well as anything else, you know, that's related to women. As from what I see, Speaker's Corner is getting a little bit dangerous when it comes to Islamophobes, as well as people attacking each other. You know, especially with internet issues and stuff like that. There are these, you know, I'm from the U.S., right? So the UK is a little bit different than the U.S. when it comes to these issues that you guys are having. So I definitely can't relate to you guys when it comes to how you guys are dealing with it out there in Speaker's Corner. But out here, like my sister, for example, she's a hijabi. They have their own group called Sisters Stepping Up, and what they do is big sister, little sister, and they have their own functions that they do, and they help little sisters out, you know, with sister problem issues, like, you know, for school or, you know, everyday life issues, and they go out camping together and, you know, take like, you know, short trips with only sisters together, and you know, and do recreational work, you know, the sisters themselves, as well as they have, you know, different type of functions where men and women get together, but there is a separation between the two, and they have like lectures coming in where you know, like men do the lectures, women do the lectures and stuff like that. And they have a separate type of event like that. But I believe the sisters should have their own personal time for themselves where they could go out, you know, shop. Like my wife goes out shopping with my mother, or if my sister comes to town with the kids. She drives. You know, I taught her how to drive myself. Got her a car and everything. So I mean, there should be some time alone for the woman to have her own me time, away from the kids, away from her husband, with other sisters. You know, like halakas with women. Like my wife goes to halakas every month with my mother to you know, sisters' homes where they choose the house, and every month they switch the houses. You know, with themselves, and the brothers come together in a separate house where the husbands go to a different house, and they have like barbecues and stuff like that, and the kids over there, and the guys, you know, play in the park and, you know, baseball, whatever, football. So there's a lot of things that sisters can do that's outside of Speaker's Corner that they can have events in. Speaker's Corner shouldn't be the limelight of no, of everything. You know what I'm saying? So that's my view. I mean, I think sisters should separate from Speaker's Corner, especially with all this you know, all these issues that are happening in Speaker's Corner right now.
I agree with you. You know, sisters we have circles and events and trips. We do all this, but Speaker's Corner is a unique place. It's Speaker's Corner, so the reason why sisters go to Speaker's Corner is because it's Speaker's Corner, where they can interact and debate and discuss and do dawah. So it's not.
But sister, to be honest, I know I understand that, but I heard sisters also go there for other reasons, and that's the reason why I'm saying this because you know, of course, we can't see everything in the camera, right? I mean, but behind cameras, I've heard other stories as well where sisters don't just go there for the dawah, but other reasons as well, and the brothers as well. So that's why I'm saying that, right? You know, if there's going to be something like that going on, then it's better not to have sisters there in the first place.
But this is it. So we can't police who goes and who doesn't go in. And if
I understand that.
People do inappropriate behavior, they're going to do it anyway. They're not going to care less or listen to me or you. So it's pointless us even having this conversation. So people who do things in the backgrounds, they're going to continue to do things in the backgrounds because they clearly don't care about the opinions of others. But what we're discussing now is, should sisters go to Speaker's Corner? Is it haram for them to go to Speaker's Corner? And at what point does it become haram or inappropriate for women to be? I agree that when it's dangerous, we shouldn't go. And maybe, obviously, now that it's getting really dark and we can't see where we're going, it would not be the best thing for sisters. Hence why I don't go.
Yeah, definitely.
Do you know what, brother Jafar? I was just gonna say, you know, because Speaker's Corner. Salam, sorry.
Yeah, what's going on?
All good, brother. What I was gonna say, you know, Speaker's Corner has become so popular that you know that you can't actually, you know, stop these sisters that actually to go there, you know, because I don't know, a while back I saw another sister in the veil trying to give out just dawah. I don't think she was speaking to anybody. I don't know if sister in the veil was speaking about her as well at one point. But there is one sister that goes there that gives out. But I think after dark, she disappears.
You talking about
I think even it doesn't mean